Survival for all. I start by building a mecha and piloting a Gundam. This video is purely for entertainment and does not infringe on copyrights or laws. The rights to the novel and image belong to the original author. We do not claim ownership. Don't like waiting and want to listen to this fanfic in full now? Subscribe to our Patreon, where you'll find the best fanfics. Chapter 51. The last day finally arrived. On the first day, the Lord descended. If the Lord had not been born in the continent of gods and demons, the world would be dark forever. On the second day, the Lord created factories, so there were armors. On the third day, the Lord upgraded the castle, so there were delicacies. On the fourth day, the Lord created new armors, so there were monsters killed. On the fifth day, the Lord created city walls, so we can sleep peacefully. On the sixth day, the Lord created trading, which triggered a trading peak on the continent. On the seventh day, the Lord took the first step to rule the world. The Lord is omnipotent, omniscient, omnipresent, and has everything. Castle bedroom. Tang Xiaofan lay on the bed with his eyes wide open. The farmer's recitation echoed in his ears. He could sense the farmer's faith in him, fanatical and unwavering. At a certain moment, he really doubted that he was the Lord who created everything in the world. Omnipotent, omniscient. Let's get up. The Lord who created everything can rest on the seventh day, but I can't. Tang Xiaofan turned over and got up. After getting dressed and washing, he ate the hearty breakfast prepared by the farmer. He came to the yard. The farmer's recitation also ended in due time. Lord. Tang Xiaofan nodded slightly and said, Zhan Yi will lead the team to go out hunting. Be careful. Today's hunting is particularly important. With another 52 soul stones, the farmer's factory can be upgraded to level 3. And it's not just the farmer's factory. The black technology castle is not far from upgrading. In addition, there are advanced building drawings. The metal laboratory, if you work hard, it will be built soon. Today is the 7th day since the arrival of more than 200 castle masters on Blue Star. It is also the last day of the novice protection period. We must be more diligent. Yes, Lord. Then, Zhan Yi led the team. A group of warriors wearing Mark's second armor, wearing armor and holding giant axes, walked out of the castle in unison. As long as the soul stones are gathered within today, at that time, the farmer's factory will be upgraded to level 3. The second level farmer's factory can summon professional farmers. I don't know what type of farmers can be summoned by the third level farmer's factory. Tang Xiaofan opened the trading channel. All the food on the shelves yesterday afternoon has been sold out. In exchange, 17,500 units of wood and 11,300 units of stone were obtained. Compared with the previous few days, the proportion of stone exchanged has been getting higher and higher. This shows that some castle lords have found a source of stone, such as stone mines. The more stones collected, the greater the share of the market will flow into. It is no longer like the first 2 or 3 days, when the resources exchanged were mainly wood. Not just me. Other castle lords are also developing rapidly. I believe that in the near future, the rare refined iron will also become the mainstream of transactions. When the amount of refined iron increases, castle lords who own towns will emerge like mushrooms after rain. As for now, the only person who has the ability to upgrade the castle to a town is Tang Xiaofan. At present, I have more than 130,000 units of wood in reserve, and the stone has exceeded the 50,000 mark. The 2 conditions for upgrading the town are met. The only thing missing is refined iron. The castle warehouse has nearly 2,000 units of refined iron in reserve. There is still a shortfall of 8,000 units of refined iron required to upgrade the town. It seems that the gap is huge, but it is not. Because Keller has already stored about 4,000 units of refined iron. By night, the number of refined iron may increase to 5,000 units. If he exchanges these refined iron, he will only have a difference of 3,000 units. Add to that the auction of high-level equipment. It is easy to collect 10,000 units of refined iron. If there are more than 15,000 units of refined iron, then upgrade the town first. The advanced building metal laboratory requires 50,000 refined iron, which is still a bit difficult at present. The problem now is whether the castle lords are powerful enough. Can the high-level equipment made of level 15 leader-level materials make them crazy? The crazier the castle lords are, the more Tang Xiaofan will earn. The world chat channel is still lively. The heat of the demon is far from over. Many castle lords are still discussing things related to the demon. Some even said that it was a pity that the demon did not descend near their castle, otherwise they would definitely kill the demon and explode the artifact. There are also people who encourage the castle lords in the forest to send troops to find the traces of the demon. If you can kill the demon, you will definitely have a great harvest. Seeing such information, Tang Xiaofan just laughed. Want to explode his armor? Is your neck strong enough? Now on the 7th day, the netizens of Blue Star have also ushered in the most uneasy day for them. If the heart of the castle of the contestant is broken, he will be declared dead, and his country will suffer 1,000 times the punishment! Exclamation mark. Because starting tomorrow, after the protective shield disappears, the beast tide will come. At that time, once some castles are destroyed by the beast tide, then the country, where the contestant is located, will suffer 1,000 times the punishment. For example, if their players in the pig leg country are killed, then their country, which is only 10 acres in area, will not even have a chance to escape at that time. It will be destroyed in the blink of an eye, and all of them, without distinction. These weak netizens have applied to immigrate to other countries. Even if they can't immigrate, they will apply for visas to travel to powerful countries. For example, Dragon Country. There are too many foreign tourists in Dragon Country, and these are still rich people. Those poor people have swum across the Pacific Ocean holding a piece of wood to come to Dragon Country. Although Lango was overwhelmed by this wave of population influx, it was also a mixture of pain and happiness, because too many wealthy people and scientists applied for immigration, bringing wealth and technology with them. Even many people from the powerful ugly country immigrated here. In order to immigrate to Lango, these people passed the extremely difficult Lango Mandarin test, which made the people of Lango look at these overseas elites with new eyes. World Chat Channel. Today is the 7th day of Advent. There is only one day left in the novice protection period. I'm really nervous. I'm not nervous, I'm just afraid that the castle will be besieged. The most afraid person should be me. On the first day of Advent, a giant bat circled over my castle. It came every other day. It's obvious that they regard me as food. Please accept my condolences upstairs. The most dangerous is the beast tide. This is a test for all hundreds of castle lords. This wave alone is very likely to eliminate a large number of castle lords. I wonder what the beast tide looks like. I don't care whether the beast tide is spectacular, I only care when it comes. After today, the beast tide may appear at any time. Damn it. Why don't you give me more time? My troops haven't grown up yet. Chapter 52. Preparing to attack the underground goblin tribe. Who isn't? Most of the castle lords are just trying to survive. Only a few castle lords with advanced and top level troops are confident that they can resist the beast tide and even compete for awards. For example, Boss Tang Xiaofan and Bear Grylls' Golden City, Black Dragon Castle, Silver War Castle, Elf Garden, Death Knight Country, etc. These are all top bosses with strong strength, qualified to compete for the only reward. In the World Chat Channel, many castle lords were discussing things about the beast tide. The heat was even higher than the demon that appeared in the forest. After all, today is the last day of the novice period. After today, the novice period will end, and the protective shield will disappear. There will no longer be an absolutely invincible castle defense to protect them. The peaceful period of stable development is about to pass. Next, all castle lords will have to embark on a cruel road of survival. This makes many people uneasy. Especially those castle lords who are randomly assigned to low-level troops are panicked and almost desperate. The World Chat Channel is a place for many castle lords to vent. Some people revealed fear. Someone was cursing. However, the road must continue. Standing still will only make the death chasing him closer and closer. Fighting hard may give him a chance of survival. Hundreds of castle lords on Blue Star will be completely exposed to the dangerous environment of the god and demon continent. Tang Xiaofan turned off the World Chat Channel. He was in a complicated mood. He was not arrogant enough to ignore the dangers of the god and demon continent just because he made the Mark Mecha. On the contrary, he was equally alert. The protective shield with absolute defense was about to disappear, and he felt a little uneasy. This is human instinct and cannot be ignored. When people are weak, They will naturally fear the strange world around them. Only by making themselves stronger and stronger, the sense of security in their hearts will increase accordingly. He must become stronger. When he is strong enough to kill the fire dragon easily, perhaps he can truly gain a foothold in the forest. Fearless of challenges from all sides. Nanga, how is it? How is your sniper rifle, my lord? In the weapons workshop, Nanga, who smelled of gunpowder, raised his head and greeted Tang Xiaofan. Then, he took out a long barrel that was more than 2 meters long and as thick as his arm from the table and handed it to Tang Xiaofan. After adjustment, considering the fire dragon, I deliberately doubled the firepower. Of course, the price is that the barrel is thicker. Looking at the sniper rifle in his hand, Tang Xiaofan's body, which had been upgraded many times, was a bit heavy at the moment. Walking into the forest, Tang Xiaofan fired a shot at the forest. Boom. The huge gunshot shook the monsters in the forest and made them flee in all directions. A row of large trees were all broken by it and shot at least 2 kilometers away. Good boy. Tang Xiaofan was shocked by the recoil of this shot. If he had not upgraded and strengthened his body, he would probably be injured by this shot. Sir, this weapon is extremely powerful, but it needs to be used with the Mark II armor to exert its power. Jarvis' voice sounded, and Tang Xiaofan nodded. That's right, if such a weapon is used with Jarvis's terrifying computing ability to predict the trajectory, then the fire dragon must stay when it comes. After that, Tang Xiaofan chatted with the little loli in the underground world for a while. He learned that the little loli had built a fence to protect the entire Great Dwarf Castle. The Dark Iron Dwarves under her command also put on their equipment. The strongest Dark Iron Dwarf has reached level 8. The weakest is level 2. The total number exceeds 80. The average level is level 4. The Dark Iron Dwarves of the little loli are not strong and can even be said to be weak. But she has a fence, and the Dark Iron Dwarves are all wearing equipment. The combat effectiveness is not bad. It should not be a problem to stop the beast tide and pass the initial test safely. Tang Xiaofan killer, I have good news for you. After my Great Dwarf Castle was upgraded to a high level, a dwarf uncle who had been wandering in the underground world for a long time came to me. Tang Xiaofan asked, Dwarf uncle? What level? Well, the dwarf uncle said that he is the most powerful sky swordsman of the Dark Iron Dwarf clan, and he is at the peak of level 18. The dwarf uncle also said that before the beast tide comes, he will help me summon more Dark Iron Dwarf warriors. Tang Xiaofan fell silent. He asked himself, why should he worry about the safety of this little Lolita? He shouldn't think too much. He had to admit, he was jealous of this little Lolita. Think of him, Tang Xiaofan, known as the strongest castle lord, the first to upgrade the castle to a high level and emerge in the forest. The armored team under his command swept through the dense forest within a radius of 20 kilometers. Strong strength and amazing combat power. However, until now, no local intelligent creature has come to him. When the ogre tribe was wiped out, those low-level intelligent creatures would rather die than surrender. But this little Lolita, a sky great swordsman Dark Iron Dwarf who is as high as level 18, took the initiative to surrender to her and even recruited soldiers for her to help her guard the Great Dwarf Castle. The treatment is very different. She is worthy of being favored by the goddess of luck. After finishing the chat with the lucky little Lolita, Tang Xiaofan turned his attention to the kill information prompt. In the prompt, there will be information about goblins being killed from time to time. Obviously, his armor team is preparing to attack the goblin nest hidden in the underground world. This is good news. On the last day, the Blue Star world was not idle either. Today's God and Demon continent has been changed to a full day live broadcast. Because after the end of today, we will encounter a beast tide, and everyone's fate is closely related. Hello everyone, thank you for watching today's show. Today is the last day of the novice protection period. After today, the protection shield will disappear, and the players from Dragon Country will face the challenge. Please talk to us first, Chief. Do you think Tang Xiaofan can withstand this wave of beasts? Looking at the question sent by Yuki, the chief laughed out loud, which was rare, and said, haha, haha, of course he can. He is just suffering from insufficient means of reconnaissance, otherwise he would have killed all those monsters. The chief stretched out his hand, and the sniper rifle that Tang Xiaofan had just experimented with appeared on the big screen. He said, "Look at this weapon, everyone. It looks like a gun, but it's actually a sniper cannon. The caliber is almost 20 millimeters. If it is concentrated with this kind of bullet, not only creatures, but even today's tanks may be penetrated." Chapter 53, Remote Operational Planning. HMPH. Animal abuse. If it's your opinion, you should negotiate with these animals and live in peace. Zhang Xiaoxio's opinions are always so different, and recently he has suffered unprecedented cyber violence, which has made him feel very bad. Fuck. Is this guy having his period? The toilet is so disgusting. When can we get rid of this filth? Master Jin glanced at the unfriendly director awkwardly and said, "That's definitely not possible. The animals are here to eat him. But there's no need to worry about Tang Xiaofan. I think he is confident over there. It looks like he will upgrade the castle today, right? It looks like that. Although I got a blueprint of a metal laboratory last time. Only after the castle is upgraded can his productivity be further liberated." You're right, but what I'm most curious about is his iron house. How can there be so many people hiding, and they are all strong men? Black technology, all black technology. Wait until one day we can communicate with Tang Xiaofan, then ask him. The tribe of goblins. Located in the underground world, the entrance is a tree hole. It is easy to defend, but difficult to attack. But Tang Xiaofan believed that, since the armor team had already started to attack the goblins, it meant that the warriors were confident in wiping out the goblin tribe. He was not overly worried. Battle 1. Now they are all level 13. He is now wearing the Mark 2nd armor. When he runs at full speed, he can't see any figure at all, only a silver light. With his current strength, it is estimated that he will have no problem fighting the fire dragon alone. As long as the opponent does not run away, he will win. As long as there is no king goblin in the goblin tribe, then the flag of victory is in the hands of the armor team. In the courtyard, Tang Xiaofan looked up and looked at the protective cover covering the black technology castle. It was flowing with white light and was still dazzling. But after 12 o'clock tonight, it will disappear. Hundreds of castle lords will also officially welcome this strange and dangerous world and usher in a new castle era. Starting tomorrow, I will recruit more warriors, and I will start preparing to develop the arc reactor. By then, even without the protection of the shield, I will be the safest wearing the armor. By then, I will turn this castle into my armor fortress. One command, the armor will be remotely worn to protect me to the greatest extent. In this way, it will be foolproof. Even if there are wild monsters or local forces, they will attack the castle while the warriors are out hunting. Even if the enemy crosses the city wall defense line and evades the warrior's guards, he can resist one or two. The best way is to have one or two personal bodyguards to protect himself all day. In that way, even if the enemy attacks the castle, he will not become the turtle in the jar. My current level is level 6. Ordinary monster level. After putting on the armor, the real combat power is not as good as a level 15 elite monster, but it still has the ability to protect itself. Level 6 plus armor is no longer cannon fodder. This is the confidence of Tang Xiaofan to let the warrior team go out hunting. After all, the castle still needs to be developed, and it will have to go out to fight. After all, the number of soldiers is too small. If I have 1,000 Mark armor soldiers, then half of them can go out hunting, and the other half can guard the castle and protect me. Why should I worry? If I have an arc reactor and can mass produce Mark armor, then I can rest assured. Tang Xiaofan sighed. He now has only about 100 Mark 2nd armors, which is too few. But then again, it seems that I'm not far away from having 1,000 Mark 2nd armors. Today, the farmer's factory can be upgraded to level 3. The castle can also be upgraded to a town. I wonder if some scientific and technological talents can be born by then, unlocking some scientific and technological buildings to solve the problem of production efficiency. In that case, I can explode soldiers without restraint. Thinking of this, Tang Xiaofan's body and mind also felt much more relaxed. At this moment, in the dense forest about 8 kilometers away from the Black Technology Castle, the armor team has been assembled. Today, the soldiers no longer hunt wild monsters. Instead, they headed straight for the goblin tribe. This was not a plan made by the Warframe team from the beginning. On the contrary, it was due to an accident. When preparing to hunt, a soldier discovered the traces of the goblins. Several goblins that looked like big black rats hid in the dense thorny jungle and spied on the hunting operations of the Warframe team. Then they were discovered by the soldiers and all captured. Zhang Yi tortured several goblins in depth, like ogres. Although the goblins were timid, they would rather die than surrender. However, their bodies could not withstand the torture and were out of control, leaking all the information of their own tribe. That's a medium-sized goblin tribe. An underground world hidden 100 meters underground. There are about 3,000 goblins in the tribe. Nearly 800 goblin warriors. The most powerful goblin is the chief of their tribe, who has just entered the 18th level lord level. The rest, 2 16th level goblin commanders and 5 14th level minor commanders. Hundreds of elite goblins from level 10 to 12. Zhang Yi passed the intelligence information he had obtained to Tang Xiaofan, who was far away in the Black Technology Castle, through the Mark II communication system. Tang Xiaofan knew that the strength of this goblin tribe was very strong, and even the top castle lord could not defeat it. But with the strength of the armor team, it is not impossible to break through this goblin tribe. Lure the goblins to fight. Find an opportunity to kill the 2 16th level goblins, and then attack the underground world. Zhang Yi, you deal with the 18th level goblin chief. Leave the rest of the goblins to the armor team. The 2 16th level goblin commanders are the key. If they are alive, they can help the goblin chieftain to besiege Zhang Yi. They can also lead other goblins to fight against the armor team. So they need to die first. As long as they die, Zhang Yi can let go to deal with the 18th level goblin chieftain. Other warriors can also let go to deal with the goblin warriors in the tribe. The key to opening the goblin tribe is the 2 16th level commander level goblins. Their life and death is very critical. In addition, since we are attacking underground, we can test the effects of fertilizer bombs and Molotov cocktails, so as not to wait until tomorrow's beast tide to rush around. Yes, my lord. No, chief. Something bad has happened. The devil is coming. Chapter 54, The Battle in Full Swing. They are wearing steel armor and holding flaming chains. They are going to kill us. The dark underground world was awakened by the unique screams of the goblins. A goblin sentry. He screamed and ran in panic. He passed through the houses of the tribe shrouded in the soft light of the moonlight grass and climbed 49 steps. Finally, he entered a palace made of huge stones. This palace is not magnificent, but it is enough to make other goblins in the tribe in awe. In the square near the palace, there stands a statue. It is a dragon with huge wings spread out, with a hideous face and a ferocious look. On the back of the dragon, there is a goblin warrior holding a huge sword. He opened his mouth wide. The huge sword in his hand pointed forward. It was as if he was roaring, and it seemed to be ordering to ride down the dragon and charge at the enemy in front. Your Majesty the Supreme Goblin. Riding a dragon, you are so brave and invincible. May your Majesty protect the goblins and bless our tribe to prosper. No enemy can make us goblins retreat. Not even a dragon. Chief. Something bad is happening. The goblin sentry knelt down in the hall with a plop. At the top of the hall, on a stone seat, sat the goblin chief in fine armor. He had just been promoted to level 18 not long ago. He was full of energy and majestic. His body was even stronger than the strongest goblin warrior in the tribe. He was even 1.5 meters tall. The goblins were generally about 1.2 meters tall. Goblins who could reach 1.5 meters were very rare. He was already considered a goblin giant. What happened? The goblin chief asked calmly. He sat upright, holding a huge iron sword, with the tip of the sword resting on the ground. His expression was calm and his momentum was magnificent. The goblin sentinel was affected by this and quickly calmed down. He said respectfully, reporting to the chief, those creatures from the surface have invaded our territory. The third entrance of the tribe has been occupied. Many tribesmen were slaughtered by surface creatures. They are few in number, but powerful. No tribesman can match them. Even the young commander Yugu was killed by them. How courageous. The goblin chief was furious. Yugu was a level 14 goblin and a small commander of the tribal army. His mission was to guard the third entrance. Now, he died at the hands of surface creatures, and he was very angry. The goblin chief asked in a deep voice, "Is the murderer the human in the castle again?" The goblin sentinel shook his head and said, "The enemy is not the castle humans, but a group of warriors wearing steel armor. They also have the breath from the surface." "Steel armor?" The goblin chief frowned. After a moment, he asked again, "How many enemies are there, and what level are they?" The goblin sentinel replied, "There are quite a few enemies, and the highest level is level 13. They have mastered extremely powerful combat skills, and surrounded and killed the 14th level commander, Lord Yugu." Damn it. The goblin chief's face was filled with murderous intent. They were so weak, yet they dared to covet his goblin tribe. They were courting death. At this moment, a goblin warrior rushed into the hall. With a look of deep anger on his face, he said, "Chief, I request to go to the battle and eliminate those surface invaders. I want to personally avenge my brother Yugu. Go. Take the other small commanders and our brave and powerful goblin warriors. Washer, you must make sure that the surface invaders understand that my goblin tribe is not something they can provoke." The goblin chief sat on the stone seat, his expression angry, and gave orders. "Yes, chief." Goblin leader Washer immediately left the hall. He ordered a large number of goblins to rumble out of the underground world. Looking at their backs, the goblin chief nodded slightly, full of confidence. Goblin Washer, one of his level 16 generals, together with 4 level 14 minor generals and a group of elite goblin warriors, they can definitely eliminate the invaders. A group of invaders who are only level 13 at most are not enough for me to take action personally. I believe that Washer will bring me good news soon. In the dense forest, the earth shook. There seemed to be a rumbling sound. At this time, the ground suddenly collapsed and quickly turned into a large hole with a diameter of tens of meters. A large number of goblin warriors poured out of the underground cave. Each goblin was equipped with weapons and leather armor and was fully armed. It was obvious at a glance that their combat effectiveness was not bad, at least stronger than the ogre tribe. 200 meters ahead is the third entrance, tree hole. The enemy is there. Kill them. Revenge for the little commander Wugu and the sacrificed tribesmen. Revenge. Revenge. Under the leadership of the 16th level commander Washer, 4 14th level commanders and more than 300 elite goblin warriors, with high morale and fury, rushed to the third entrance. The third entrance is just a small tree hole. It is used for goblins to enter and exit on a daily basis. And this underground cave is a wartime passage. It is specially used to help the large troops of the goblin tribe pass. When the war comes, the cave will be opened. After the war is over, the cave will be sealed again. Near the third entrance, dozens of goblin corpses are laying. The warriors gathered at the entrance of the cave, ready for battle. If the whole goblin tribe is dispatched, and the goblin chieftain leads the team, they will withdraw immediately and temporarily avoid the front line. But if only a part of the goblin army goes to battle, then their plan will succeed. Masters and Yi. Zanshiki came over and said respectfully, "We found the goblin army in the rear, more than 300 people, led by a level 16 goblin commander and 4 level 14 goblin commanders. The goblin chieftain did not show up." "Very good." Zan Yi waved the giant axe in his hand and said, "Pass my order. Prepare for battle." "Yes." After Zanshiki left, Zan Yi said, "Brothers, our plan is perfect. Although only one of the 2 level 16 commanders of the goblin tribe showed up, the remaining level 14 commanders all came." "Good." When the warriors surrounded and killed the level 14 goblin commander Yugu, he did not show up. The purpose was to show weakness to the enemy, to prevent the goblin tribe from attacking in full force. The most important thing was to prevent the level 18 goblin chieftain from coming out in person. Now it seems that his plan was successful. A level 16 goblin, 4 level 14 goblins, and more than 300 goblin warriors between level 6 and level 13. This is the elite force of the goblin tribe. This goblin army was defeated. The armor team can directly charge into the goblin tribe in the underground world, destroy the goblin tribe and complete the mission assigned by the Lord. If you're listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means they downloaded and uploaded it without effort. We cordially invite you to visit our channel, Mundo Fanfic Novelos. There you'll find the original version of this story and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We're waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Chapter 55, One-sided crushing battle. In the dense forest, the goblin army met the warrior team. Without any extra words, the two sides immediately started a fierce battle. Kill. Revenge for the sacrificed tribesmen. Kill all these invaders from another world. Washer, the level 16 goblin leader, raised the mace in his hand and roared towards the warrior team. These steel cans. The strongest one is only the peak of level 13. How dare they challenge the powerful goblin army? They are looking for death! Exclamation mark. The other goblins were also very brave. Following behind the goblin leader Washer, they charged towards the warrior team. At the same time, dense iron arrows flew out from the goblin army and shot at the warrior team. The warriors shook their bodies and evaded them flexibly. This level of long-range physical attack could not hurt them at all. Then, they quickly counterattacked. Dada the M429 machine gun fired, and the barrage formed by it surged towards the goblin team like a tide. Crazy release. Countless blood flowers bloomed, and the goblins were stunned. They exclaimed, "The chain of death." For a moment, the formation was disrupted, and the originally high morale was completely melted. The warriors were brave and fearless, and they directly charged into the camp of the goblin troops. Wherever they passed, the giant axe was swung, and the originally brave goblin warriors fell one after another. Damn it. The goblin leader Washer swung his mace and hit the nearest warrior. At this moment, the warrior actually became trance in his eyes. This is an illusion created in the eyes of the enemy after high-speed movement. This ordinary warrior used high-speed movement to directly resist the attack of the goblin leader Washer. At this moment, Zanyi had already left the battle. He used high-speed movement to avoid the sight of the goblins and rushed directly to the ground. At this moment, the remaining warriors continued to attack the goblin leader Washer and the goblin troops around him. Go to hell. It is your honor to die under the glory of the Lord. These warriors have mastered the fighting skills of practical machine guns. Their giant axes and machine guns are combined to form a chain of death in front of them. Behind them is a huge axe blade chopped down. A series of attacks covered the goblin leader Washer and dozens of goblin warriors. Those goblin warriors instantly turned into stray dogs and fell to the ground with screams. Only the goblin leader Washer released the magic power in his body and barely blocked the machine gun bullets. Damn it. It's a level 12 steel can. When the goblin leader Washer saw so many steel cans, his face suddenly changed. He was not stupid. He soon realized that they were fooled. The strongest of the enemy hid and has not appeared yet. It is obvious that he is luring them into the trap and taking the opportunity to weaken the strength of the goblin tribe. So what if he's level 12? The powerful goblins have even enslaved dragons. Not to mention new creatures from another world. The goblin leader Washer roared. He raised his mace and hammered away the goblin warrior who had lost his life in front of him. Then he kicked his legs. Like a cannonball, he rushed back and charged forward. This was his skill and his honor as a late level 16 warrior. Zan 47, who was fighting him, was fearless. Holding a giant axe, he turned into a black light. He collided with the goblin leader Washer. Boom. The goblin's magic power and the power of the Mark II armor collided violently. Suddenly, a terrifying shockwave appeared. The dense forest within 100 meters was affected. Many boulders flew, and some trees were even uprooted. When the shockwave and the violent energy dissipated, only the figure of Zan 47 was left on the ground. The goblin leader Washer half knelt on the ground, and the mace in his hand had flown away. His face was pale. He stared at the iron warrior opposite him with an unbelievable look. As a senior late-stage level 16 warrior, he was not the opponent of a level 12 early-stage alien creature. The collision of the two sides' strengths made him lose. How is it possible? What race are you? The goblin leader Washer couldn't believe it. Zan 47 said proudly, "We are farmers, the guardians of the Lord. Our duty is to spread the glory of the Lord and let all disloyal people wash away their sins with blood. I have never heard that the farmer race can be so powerful. You are lying." But faith. The goblin leader Washer got up from the ground and said angrily, "The creatures of the god and demon continent do not need faith. They only pursue the truth. Zan 47. What is the truth? The truth is, it is. The goblin leader Washer was silent abruptly. Then, he suddenly said angrily, truth is truth. The so-called faith will only erode our souls. The shameful faith in the evil god has long abandoned us. Kill. Washer ordered angrily. The war started again. Unfortunately, what he waited for was not the giant axe of Zan 47, but a rain of bullets. At this time, hundreds of meters away from the battlefield, at the outer door of the cave, stood a young man, the lord of the castle, where a group of champion swordsmen died yesterday. Now around him, a large group of militia gathered, and there was no champion swordsman anymore. Lord, this is what happened. The battle over there is very fierce, and we can't get involved at all. Listening to the report of his militia, the young man's face was a little ugly. Hundreds of goblin warriors and a group of demons are fighting. It's crazy. The aftermath of the battlefield shook the entire forest. If he hadn't heard the shouting and killing, he might have crashed into it. But, how can there be so many demons in this forest? He didn't understand. High-level hell creatures like demons should be rare. As a result, a group of demons appeared on the battlefield. Any other information? In response to the young man's inquiry, the militia who went to inquire about the news shook his head and said, reporting to the Lord, the strength of both sides on the battlefield is very strong, and the strongest has reached level 16. I dare not approach, I can only watch from afar. But one thing is certain. The target of that group of demons is a goblin tribe hidden in the underground world. This is the direct cause of the war. I know. The young man waved his hand and waved away his militia. He thought for a long time and finally said, pass my order to stay away from this area. Go to other places to collect resources and hunt wild monsters. Yes, Lord. Soon, the young man evacuated with his militia. Any demon of level 10 or 12 is enough to slaughter his militia. There was a group of demons on the battlefield in the distance. He didn't have the courage to stay and take advantage. Curiosity kills the cat. He knows this truth. The most important thing is that his castle troops cannot suffer any more major losses. So, he evacuated decisively. Chapter 56. The Great Crisis of the Goblin Tribe. The underground battlefield was littered with the bodies of goblin warriors. Some goblins were turned into hornets' nests by machine guns. Some goblins were cut into pieces by giant axes. The battle lasted less than 10 minutes, and the goblin tribe suffered heavy losses. When only 70 or 80 of the 300 goblin warriors were left, the camp of the goblin army suddenly collapsed. The surviving goblin warriors began to flee. Some fled to the depths of the jungle. Some fled to the underground world. But most of the goblins failed to escape, and were caught up by the Mecha warriors, and killed one by one. No more than 20 goblins escaped. As for the goblin leader Washer, he had been killed by Zan 41 alone. The other 4 level 14 goblin commanders were killed by other warriors. This was a glorious victory. The goblin army was almost wiped out, and none of the warriors in the warrior team were injured. Because the warriors were protected by powerful Mark II armor, even the extraordinary force of several elite commanders did not cause any damage to the armor. In comparison, the goblins did not have such treatment. They relied almost entirely on brute force. Even the level 16 goblin commander Washer did not have many skills. There was no way to fight against the Mark II armor. In the process of fighting with Zan 47, he was suppressed by strength and defense everywhere. But he was killed in 20 rounds. Get ready, repair immediately. Set off in 5 minutes, and continue the attack. The warriors took a short break, but there was nothing to rest. They didn't even sweat. After all, they had machine guns in their hands, and the flexibility and defense of the Mark II made them basically invincible. It was rare for so many warriors to get injured. However, while recovering, the warriors also upgraded their levels. Xana and others were still level 12, but many other warriors were promoted to level 11. Most warriors reached the peak of level 12. The overall strength of the warrior team has skyrocketed. The reason why so many warriors were promoted is because there were too many goblin warriors killed this time, nearly 300. Among them, there are not only a large number of elite goblins, there is also a level 16 goblin commander and 4 level 14 goblin commanders. Even if it is shared, the experience gained by the warriors is very terrifying. Enough to complete the level promotion. Rest time is up. Clean up the battlefield. Leave the goblins' equipment and soul stones in place, and transport them back to the castle after the battle and hand them over to the Lord. Yes. No one cleaned the battlefield, and the battle was still going on. The enemy's nest had been alarmed, and the wall lost its suddenness. Xana said to the warriors, "Our mission is to wipe out the goblin tribe. The level 18 goblin chief is in charge of Xinyi. We will deal with the other goblins." Yes, Xana. In the battles outside, commanders are often born at the grassroots level. Because all the warriors were summoned by Tang Xiaofan, at the beginning, they were almost the same. Except for the special ones, everyone fights and grows together. However, there are differences between people. Xanyi and Xana gradually grew up in daily combat. Level is one aspect, and the other is the ability and temperament that makes people believe. Tang Xiaofan did not interfere with the birth of such a commander. He himself was not as clear about the command system as Jarvis, but he had his own understanding of the profound logic behind it. A strong combat team, as long as the combat power is guaranteed to be overwhelming, then the best will naturally emerge. Not to mention, these soldiers and farmers are wholeheartedly fighting for the Black Technology Castle, without messy ideas. Very simple. The soldiers respectfully received the order, and were full of confidence. Among them, there are a large number of level 10 soldiers and 10 level 12 soldiers. There are also Mark II armor equipped by all members, M249 machine guns equipped by all members, and several sniper guns used to deal with long-range attacks of special arms. For such a team, it is easy to slay the dragon. It is not difficult to deal with the only remaining level 16 goblin commander of the goblin tribe and other goblin warriors. If they were fast enough, they could return to the Black Technology Castle for dinner after the battle. If nothing unexpected happened, the warrior team would be enough to wipe out the goblin tribe. Let's go. Xana gave an order. The warriors entered the underground cave with a diameter of more than 10 meters. They headed straight for the goblin tribe located 100 meters underground. The underground world. In the giant stone palace of the goblin tribe, a dozen goblins covered in blood knelt in the hall. They lowered their heads. They didn't dare to face the angry eyes of the tribal chief. They were defeated. The elite force composed of 300 goblin warriors was killed by the enemy and collapsed. In the end, only these people escaped alive. It can be said that the whole army was annihilated. They are the shameful losers. Chief. This is a conspiracy. The only elite level 10 goblin said angrily. The most powerful enemy is definitely not less than level 13. He must be much stronger, at least level 16. He hid in the dark and did not appear until the war began. Captain Washer was very brave. Fought desperately with the enemy. In the end, we were defeated and killed by the enemy. We failed. 300 brave warriors died on the battlefield. Chief, you must avenge Commander Washer and the dead tribesmen. The crying sound resounded throughout the hall. The goblin chief did not speak. His expression was extremely gloomy. He was trying his best to suppress the anger in his heart so as not to erupt. 2 battles. 1 attack, 1 head-on fight. The goblin tribe was completely defeated. All 5 of his level 14 commanders died. Only 1 of the 2 level 16 commanders was still alive. The brave goblin warriors lost 300. The tribe was greatly weakened. If he had not been promoted to level 18, he would have to worry about being annexed by other goblin tribes. Damn it. That group of enemies from another world caused him to lose a large number of warriors loyal to him and the tribe. This revenge must be avenged. At this moment, a goblin sentry ran into the hall in panic and screamed, "Chief, something bad has happened. That group of creatures from another world are coming to kill us. It's you again." The goblin chief recognized this sentry. It was he who lied about the enemy before, claiming that the strongest enemy was only level 13, which resulted in heavy losses to the tribe. Thinking of this, the goblin chief was furious and slapped the goblin sentry to death. Then, he stood up angrily and looked down at the trembling goblins in the hall. Call all tribal warriors to guard the tribe. Chapter 57. The battle begins. Effortless crush. In the underground world, the goblin tribe. There are about 3,000 goblins living here. Among them, there are 800 goblin warriors. Excluding those killed by the warrior team, there are about 500 goblin tribe warriors left. These 500 goblin warriors, under the command of the goblin chieftain, climbed the 4-meter high wall, and looked at the third passage vigilantly. The goblin warriors were all equipped with weapons and leather armor. Some elite goblins even wore rough iron armor and held sharp swords with murderous intent. The news of the destruction of the goblin army has been passed back to the tribe. But the goblins are not afraid, because their chieftain is as high as level 18. The powerful existence of the 18th level lord is enough to lead their tribe to victory. At this time, the goblin chieftain appeared on the wall. He held a fine iron giant sword, wore exquisite armor, was sturdy and majestic. Seeing him, the goblin warrior shouted, "Long live the chieftain! Long live the goblin tribe!" Very good. The goblin chieftain nodded with satisfaction. Although the goblin tribe suffered a great disaster, hundreds of brave goblin warriors fell, and even a level 16 general and 5 level 14 minor generals died on the surface world. But the morale of the goblin tribe is not low. As long as there is hope, victory will not be far away from them. It is not the dark creatures from the underground world that invaded my tribe this time. It is not the greedy black dragon. It is the creatures from another world. They call themselves farmers, serve the so-called glorious lord, and spread the lord's faith. This is bewitching us, wanting us to abandon the dignity of our souls and tribes, and let us give up the pursuit of truth. Are you willing? Are you willing to believe in the shameful evil god of faith again? No. The goblin warriors roared. All the intelligent creatures in the god and demon continent know that in ancient times, the god of faith believed in by all races, went to war with the demon god from another dimension. The warriors of all races fought bloody battles, killed countless demons. But later, the faith god system was defeated. The surviving god of faith chose to abandon all races. As a result, all races were slaughtered by the dimensional demon god, and countless lives were lost. The earth and the sky were stained red by the blood of all races. Among them, their goblin race was also included. It was the truth that saved them. On the road to pursuing the truth, all races worked together in despair and finally expelled the dimensional demon god from the god and demon continent, and restored world peace. From then on, the god of faith was spurned by all races. Although many weak races did not know what the truth was, but this prevented them from rejecting faith. All races firmly believed that the god of faith was a cancer on the god and demon continent, and the meaning of its existence was not to protect them, but to poison their souls and bodies. The god and demon continent does not need the god of faith. Things that have passed away should never come back. If they return, they are enemies. The goblin chief spoke again. We are goblins, born weak, and at the bottom of the god and demon continent. We can pay tribute to the dark creatures of the underground world and beg for peace. We can send food to the greedy black dragon, just hope it doesn't destroy our tribe. But, we will never bow our heads to creatures from another world. The enemies outside are not dimensional demons, but they are more evil than dimensional demons. We will use war and hot blood to tell those invaders from another world. Goblins can also be brave and fearless. Brave tribal warriors, take up your weapons and protect our goblin tribe. Even if we die in battle, the great goblin will definitely avenge us. The goblin chieftain raised the giant sword in his hand. Brave. Kill. Kill. On the city wall, the goblin warriors also raised their weapons. Morale instantly soared to the peak. Even in the tribe, there were many ordinary goblins roaring. In the distance, the third passage, the warriors have reached the periphery of the goblin castle. According to the images sent back by Zanyi in front, Zanur said, this is a group of low-level intelligent creatures, and their beliefs are very firm. Even though their strength is extremely weak, they are still worthy of admiration. Everyone, don't be lucky, you must fight with all your strength. Zanur said, truth can't save the god and demon continent a second time. Only the almighty lord can save the god and demon continent. Let the lord's honor spread all over the god and demon continent. Only when light completely covers the entire god and demon continent, the power of evil and darkness will stay away forever. Sacrifice is redemption. The destruction of the goblin tribe is not meaningless. He waved the giant axe and pointed at the goblin tribe. Let their blood become the embellishment of the Lord's road to honor. Let's go. The warriors' fighting enthusiasm became more fanatical. They advanced silently, holding the giant axe, and rushed directly to the goblin tribe in the distance. Zanyi also found a fighting opportunity. His opponent is the 18th level goblin chieftain. The war is about to start. Swoosh, swoosh, swoosh. 100 meters apart. Countless sharp arrows flew out from the walls of the goblin tribe. Among them, a few iron arrows were several meters long, enough to easily kill elite enemies. However, the warriors moved forward very quickly, like a series of white lights. It was easy to avoid the rain of arrows from the goblin tribe. 100 meters away, it passed in a flash. The warriors descended on the wall and jumped up. The wall was no different from a ditch to the Mark II. The giant axe in his hand, chopped at the nearby goblin warriors without hesitation. For a while, the surrounding goblin warriors fell one after another. Blood dyed the wall red. The warrior's duty is to clear all obstacles for the Lord. Warriors, no mercy. All those who are not the Lord can only wash their sins with blood. The warriors all killed the only remaining 16th level commander goblin in the goblin tribe. And Zunyi, on the other hand, focused on dealing with the goblin chieftain. As long as the goblin chieftain and the level 16 goblin leader fall, the other goblins will not be a concern. The goblin tribe can also be easily conquered. Kill. The goblin chieftain roared. Holding the fine iron giant sword, he jumped dozens of meters high and slashed at Zunyi. A trifle. Zunyi did not dodge and blocked the giant sword slash with his own hand. Then he held the giant axe and fought with the goblin chieftain at close range. Although he could use a machine gun or even a ghostly body movement to fight, the shocking effect would be much worse. Moreover, Zunyi was very clear about the combat effectiveness of his Mark II armor, which was not ordinary strong. With a loud bang, the goblin chieftain retreated dozens of meters. Zunyi did not move at all. The goblin chieftain returned to the city wall. The first round of the confrontation was immediately decided. So strong? The goblin chieftain took a deep breath. Looking at the relaxed Zunyi, his expression was shocked. Chapter 58 Easily killing the goblin chieftain. No wonder the goblin chieftain was shocked. You know, he is an 18th level lord, while the warrior on the opposite side is only 13th level. There is a difference of 5 levels, but the strength is very different. This surprised him. At the same time, he also understood why the goblin troops he sent out were annihilated. Even he is not an opponent to such a powerful enemy, let alone other goblins. You have hidden your ability, demon. You are a demon. The goblin chieftain looked at a group of warriors wearing Mark II armor that appeared not far away. The expression on his face became more and more solemn. He is not an opponent to one, let alone hundreds of them. They are spread over hundreds of meters. Many goblin warriors dropped their weapons and knelt on the ground because of the strength of their opponents. This is a sign of despair. The fighting spirit of the goblins has collapsed. Zunyi did not rush to attack, but said to the goblin chieftain, "Believe in the Lord, and you will be forgiven. Truth cannot save you, only the Almighty Lord can redeem you and your tribe. Faith, the source of evil." The goblin chieftain said coldly, "The Lord you believe in is more evil than the dimensional demon god. Arsehole. Blaspheme the Lord, you will wash your sins with blood." Zunyi's voice fell. He stepped on the ground and cracked it, and swung the giant axe towards the goblin chieftain. Suddenly, a painful expression appeared on the goblin chieftain's face. He couldn't even block one of the opponent's arms, so how could he block this kind of force now? Even the 18th level goblin chieftain couldn't bear it, and let out a painful howl. Damn it. Kill. The goblin chieftain roared angrily. He couldn't bear the fear in his heart, so he took the initiative to attack. He swung the fine iron giant sword in his hand frantically. He slashed dozens of sword lights that were several meters long at Zunyi. Zunyi's figure became hazy and unpredictable. He turned left and right. He avoided the sword lights that were slashing at him one by one. At the same time, he had already approached his opponent. He raised the giant axe high and then suddenly dropped it, slashing directly at the goblin chief. The goblin chief stretched out his long sword to block it, but the long sword shattered, and the giant axe slashed directly at the goblin chief. The exquisite armor on his body exploded instantly. A bloody wound also appeared on his chest, deep enough to see the bone, almost directly cutting him in half. "You want to kill me? Impossible." The goblin chief ignored the severe pain in his body. He tried his best. Mobilizing all the magic power in his body, he jumped into the sky and attacked Zunyi frantically. He was fearless and his momentum was explosive. just like the goblin warriors who fought bloody battles on the battlefield of the ancient gods. The only difference is, the enemy of the ancient goblins is the dimensional demon, and his enemy is the farmer. Stubborn. An evil person, like you must wash away your sins with blood. At this moment, Zhang Yi took out a sniper cannon from behind and aimed it at the goblin chief flying in the sky. Bang! With a loud bang, a blazing golden flame began to burn. Soon, the goblin chief turned into a fireman and fell to the ground. The screams of the goblin chief shook the entire goblin tribe. He was hit by the incendiary bullet of the sniper rifle, and his whole body was burning with flames. Incendiary bullets, bullets with white phosphorus, cannot be extinguished after burning. They are extremely harmful to all carbon-based creatures. In particular, the blood on the goblin chief's body surged, making the white phosphorus spread all over his body, doubling the damage. The goblin chief suffered a lot of damage. He was the first person in the god and demon continent to be hit by a white phosphorus bomb. His body was burned by flames. This kind of pain is simply unbearable. He let out an inhuman howl, which directly caused some goblin warriors who were still struggling to collapse and completely gave up resistance. Chief. Many goblins screamed and roared. However, they could only watch helplessly, unable to save the goblin chieftain who was wrapped in flames. For a time, the morale of the goblin tribe plummeted. The warriors fought bravely. The small group led by Zhang killed the only remaining level 16 goblin leader of the goblin tribe in the process. Then, they joined the surrounding battlefields, helping other warriors to attack the goblin warriors on the city wall. The goblin troops were defeated even faster. Even many ordinary goblins gave up resistance and knelt on the ground. This was not only because they lost hope and confidence and were unable to protect the tribe. To a large extent, they were also affected by the fierce and ruthless killing of the warriors. In the face of this one-sided massacre, most of the goblins would not choose to die in battle. They surrendered because of fear. The goblin chieftain, who was covered in flames, screamed more and more. The severe pain forced him to struggle frantically, trying to break free from the shackles of the flames. To do this, he did not hesitate to detonate the magic ball in his body. Finally, he succeeded. The magic pushed him up to the sky, but the flames on his body did not go out and continued to burn him. Almost burned him into a golden skeleton. Kill. The goblin chieftain was completely crazy. He knew that he was not far from death. Even if he chose to escape now, it was too late. This flame like a tassel snake would burn him to ashes before he escaped from the underground world. If he couldn't escape, he would fight desperately. The goblin chieftain waved the iron giant sword that was burned red by the flames, quickly crossed dozens of meters, and slashed at Zhang Yi. Zhang Yi's level was 13. It was also him who caused the goblin chieftain's death, and the hatred was full. So he became the goblin chieftain's target of attack. This made the goblin chieftain full of resentment towards him, and wanted to kill him before he died. Zhang Yi's figure flashed, instantly avoided the goblin chieftain's attack. He looked at the goblin chieftain with a cold expression and a little indifference. Fool. Futility of struggle will only make you an ornament of the Lord's honor. Put down your weapon. The Almighty Lord will forgive your sins. Impossible. The goblin chieftain attacked again. Eternal life does not need to be granted. All creatures in the god and demon continent are on the road to pursuing immortality. Faith will only make us degenerate, and truth can make us become gods. Swish. The red iron giant sword slashed down close to Zhang Yi's body. The wind of the sword gently stroked his silver white armor. Then you will be annihilated. The M249 in Zhang Yi's hand directly pressed against the forehead of the goblin chieftain. Become the glory of the Lord. Bang. Countless ammunition flew out of the muzzle and instantly blew up the goblin chieftain's head. At the same time, a blue blueprint fell and was collected by Zhang Yi. The opponent was too weak. There was no difficulty at all, and the equal strength was simply nonsense. Zhang Yi felt that he could slaughter this goblin tribe alone. Chapter 59 The surprise of obtaining super equipment. A bit weak. Zhang Yi shook his head slightly. He was lamenting his lack of strength. As the leader of the warrior team, he should have more powerful strength. If he reached the late stage of level 16 or level 18, the goblin chieftain would not be able to resist at all and would be killed directly. Why is it so troublesome? He felt that he needed to have a sense of crisis. After all, He had not yet fully exerted the ability of the Mark's second armor, and now he could only use it simply. This war soon came to an end. All the goblins who resisted were killed by the warriors. The remaining goblins put down their weapons and knelt on the ground. After the battle, Zhang Yi was directly promoted to level 18. Zhang Er and Zhensen were also promoted to the peak of level 16, one step away from level 18. Other warriors also gained strength. The number of level 14 warriors increased from 5 to 10. So far, under Tang Xiaofan's command, there was one level 18 warrior, 2 level 16 warriors, 10 level 14 warriors, 9 level 12 warriors, and 74 level 10 warriors. The total number of warriors was 96. The strength of the warrior team has increased dramatically again. Master Zhang Yi, Zhang Er and Zhang Yi came over and saluted Zhang Yi. The warriors communicated with each other through the internal communicator of Mark II. When Zhang Yi was the first to be promoted, they knew that this was the boss, and he was given the name Zhang Yi by the Lord. Zhang Yi is the same as other warriors, but he was promoted faster at the beginning. Now this team has no class and no privileges. Zhang Yi is the battlefield commander who grew up in fighting, and he is also the boss of all warriors. However, the overall strategic and tactical commander is the responsibility of Jarvis. Through the Mark II armor, he can not only observe every detail of the battlefield, but also directly issue combat orders to each warrior. His computing ability is far beyond any general. Not only does he incorporate factors such as battlefield, terrain, and weather into the real-time command system, but he also takes the development of the Black Technology Castle as the strategic core to formulate combat objectives. Unfortunately, all of this is useless, because now the Mark II is completely crushing the local forces of these gods and demons. Because of this, Zhang Yi and other warriors have a very harmonious relationship. In the warrior society, arrogance does not exist. There is only a strict class distinction between high-ranking warriors and low-ranking warriors, and there are no other emotions. Even if it is arrogance towards other races. Warriors, as a derivative of farmers, are enough to look down on other races. Zhang Yi looked at the goblins kneeling on the ground, and said with a thought in his heart, "Are you willing to surrender?" At this moment, Tang Xiaofan's face was full of smiles. In addition to the visual sharing provided by Jarvis, he saw the destruction of the goblin tribe with his own eyes. He has learned about the battle situation in the underground world. The goblin tribe was captured. The goblin chieftain who was as high as level 18 was also killed by the warriors. This is obviously good news. Moreover, the goblin chieftain exploded when he was killed, killing a level 18 Lord Goblin, gaining energy plus 500, soul stones plus 100, blueprint plus 1, and super quality weapon plus 1. The goblin chieftain is a humanoid intelligent creature, and he can drop so many soul stones. He actually dropped a full 100 soul stones, plus a blueprint, and a super quality weapon equipment. Wild monsters don't drop equipment. Humanoid intelligent creatures drop soul stones, but they can also drop equipment. Rather than dropping equipment, it's better to say it's picking up corpses. For example, after the death of the level 18 goblin chieftain, his equipment will not disappear. That fine steel giant sword will be preserved. At the same time, it is considered as dropped equipment by the information prompt. What grade is a super quality weapon? Tang Xiaofan asked in his mind. Soon, he received a response. The equipment levels of the god and demon continent are divided into low level, medium level, high level, king level, holy level, sub-artifact, and true artifact. Super quality equipment is not normal equipment. This type of equipment is between high level and king level. The properties of super quality equipment exceed those of high level equipment, but are lower than those of king level equipment. After forging at a higher level, it can be promoted to king level equipment. I understand. Tang Xiaofan suddenly realized, and said he understood. The meaning is very simple. Super quality equipment is equivalent to half-step king level equipment. It is easy to refine into king level equipment. On the contrary, it is very difficult to forge high level equipment into king level equipment. One is half a level short. One is one level short. Tang Xiaofan said to himself, I wonder what type and grade the exploded blueprint is. The blueprint is still on the warrior. After it is brought back to the warrior castle and identified by Tang Xiaofan, the information on the blueprint will be revealed. The blueprint was only exploded after killing the 18th level Lord level boss. I hope it won't be a low level blueprint. Tang Xiaofan thought. The possibility of a low level blueprint is not high. After all, when the 16th level Earth Dragon commander was killed before, a high level building blueprint was exploded. Now the warriors killed an 18 level Lord level Goblin Chief. It is a powerful creature of another level. It should have a rare blueprint. Of course, before identification, Tang Xiaofan could not determine the type and grade of the blueprint. It can only be said that there is a very high probability that it is a rare blueprint. Thinking of this, Tang Xiaofan's mood became better. He happily browsed the chat channel and the trading channel. In the trading area, there are still some castle lords with advanced and top level troops who are buying a large amount of refined un. They are all preparing for the high level equipment auction at 8 o'clock in the evening. High level equipment is still very attractive. This level of equipment is difficult to be dropped even by the top castle lords. Because only by killing intelligent creatures at least at the commander level can high level equipment be dropped. For example, the 16th level Goblin Commander and the 14th level Goblin Commander. The warrior team killed 2 16th level commanders and 5 14th level commanders of the Goblin tribe, and only 3 sets of high level equipment were dropped, and the rest were mid level equipment. It can be seen that high level equipment is quite rare. Not to mention, with the current strength of the castle lord, it is extremely difficult to kill the commander level creatures. They can only hunt elite level creatures at most. As for the commander level, it is still difficult to defeat. It is precisely because of this that the auction of high level equipment is so hot. It attracts almost all castle lords with high level and top level troops. They all want to get high level equipment to ensure their own safety, to prevent themselves from being insufficiently protected and dying in the upcoming beast tide. The auction tonight must be very lively. Tang Xiaofan grinned. The more people compete for high level equipment, the more he earns. He is naturally in a good mood. Chapter 60, The Unexpected Surrender of the Goblin Castle. Tang Xiaofan happily thought about the scene of getting rich in the evening, and then he withdrew his thoughts. Then, he looked at the chat channel. No one was discussing the forest demons anymore, and they were temporarily forgotten. All the topics were related to the last day of the novice period, the disappearance of the protective shield, the beast tide activities, etc. This was related to the lives and property of hundreds of castle owners. It had to be taken seriously. Today is the last day, and the novice protection period is about to end. I'm a little worried. Don't worry, today will be your best day, because our situation will become more and more difficult every day from now on. Haha, you are too pessimistic above, but it is true that, even if we successfully resist the beast tide, we can't slack off. Everyone should remember that we should not only be vigilant against monsters in the wild, but also the local forces of the continent of gods and demons. Everyone should understand that the higher the level of our castle, the more local forces will target us. Yes, from my observation and contact, the local forces here hate us aliens very much. And they can clearly distinguish our identities. Yes, that's right. They even know that we come from another world and call us evil creatures from another world. Is this a dead end? Any local force in the continent of gods and demons can hardly coexist with our castle forces. What they are pursuing is the truth, and our castle lord will eventually embark on the path of faith to become a god. Truth and faith contradict each other. Yes, that's the result. Then between us and the local forces, only one side can survive. The winner will dominate this world. Looking at the information discussed by the castle lords on the world chat channel, Tang Xiaofan also deeply agreed. He had learned from the warriors the attitude of the local forces towards them, the outsiders. Both the ogre tribe and the goblin tribe hated them. There could be no peace between the two sides. There was only war. Facing his warrior team, the timid goblins did not run away, but fought bloody battles. The weak ogres were unwilling to surrender until their death. From these 2 points, it can be seen that only war can solve the problem between the castle forces and the local forces. I want the local forces to submit to our castle lord. It's as hard as ascending to heaven. While talking to himself, Tang Xiaofan suddenly thought of the little loli in the underground world. An 18th level Lord level Grey Dwarf and Sky Swordsman took the initiative to surrender to Killer. He even volunteered to help this little loli, recruiting soldiers and horses to help him guard the dwarf castle. It must be said, the luck and charm of this little loli are off the charts. Even Tang Xiaofan was extremely envious. The more I think about it, the more jealous I am. Tang Xiaofan sighed. Thinking of him, he was at the top of hundreds of castle lords. His warrior team swept through the dense forest within 10 kilometers around. What was the result? Not to mention the 18th level Lord level native creatures who took the initiative to surrender. Even the weak low level intelligent creatures, the ogres, would rather die than surrender in front of his warrior team. This only confirmed a saying. There is no fairness in the world. At this time, a series of information prompts appeared. Tang Xiaofan was stunned for a long time. Congratulations, your troops conquered the goblin tribe. The influence and reputation of your castle forces in the forest have greatly increased. Your troops conquered the goblin tribe. You have gained the loyalty of the goblin tribe. A total of 1,672 goblins have surrendered to your castle forces and become your troops. Special reminder, because you forced the goblin tribe to submit to you, the hatred of the goblins in the god and demon continent towards you has increased. Your castle forces have been blacklisted by the goblin kingdom. In the forest, your black technology castle is well known. Tang Xiaofan took a deep breath. Zhang Yi, what did you do? He was originally waiting for a message to prompt him whether to choose to destroy the goblin tribe. When he conquered the ogre tribe, there was also such a message prompt. As long as the heart of the tribe is destroyed, the goblin tribe in the underground world will be completely wiped out and will no longer exist. As a result, his warriors actually conquered the goblin tribe directly. He forced nearly 1,700 goblins to submit to his castle forces and become his troops. I was just saying, it's harder than climbing to the sky to get the local forces to submit to the castle. In a blink of an eye, the goblin tribe lowered its head. Tang Xiaofan frowned and thought. He suspected that the reason why the goblin tribe surrendered was not because the goblins were timid by nature, but because some warriors used some methods, and it was very likely related to Zhang Yi's eloquence. When he was training in the castle, he liked to promote his theory of all under heaven belongs to the king to everyone he met. The goblin tribe surrendered. The impact brought about is both good and bad. The advantage is that my castle power is stronger and extends to the local forces of the god and demon continent, which can be regarded as opening a door for the future 10,000 races competition. There are disadvantages too. In the forest, there are more local forces eyeing the black technology castle, especially the goblin kingdom, which blacklisted my castle forces and the hatred value sword. If we meet the goblin forces again in the future, we will definitely go to war as soon as we meet. But in the end, the advantages outweigh the disadvantages. The risk is worth it. I have to admit, low-level intelligent creatures like goblins, a race at the bottom of the god and demon continent, are not enough to make Tang Xiaofan timid. If it were the dragon clan, Tang Xiaofan would be more vigilant. Sooner or later, we will conquer the goblin kingdom together. The underground world, the goblin tribe. Time goes back to 3 minutes ago. Zhang came to Zhang Yi and asked how to deal with the goblins in the tribe. 2 wars. Almost all the warriors in the goblin tribe were wiped out. The rest are just ordinary goblins. The weakest did not even reach level 2 and were at level 1. Even if all these goblins were killed, the warriors would not get much energy. The blasphemer should not exist. It is enough to wash with their blood. Zhang was concise and had no mercy on the monsters that rebelled against the Lord. As a powerful warrior of the Orthodox faction, his duty is to clear all obstacles for the Lord. The other warriors nodded. They looked at Zhang Yi together, waiting for him to make the final decision. At this moment, Zhang Yi said, "This group of goblins have surrendered. There is no need to kill them all. Even if they are blasphemers, the Almighty Lord will have mercy on them. The Lord's kindness embraces all things and spirits in the world." Zhang Yi glanced at the warriors in front of him and said again, "My Lord needs believers. This is very important for the Lord's glory, to cover the continent of gods and demons. My Lord returns and rules the world. The continent of gods and demons is a starting point. Chapter 61. The farmer's factory was successfully upgraded again. Hearing this, Xander immediately said, "Then I'll leave it to you. You have to persuade them to surrender." Okay. Zhang came to the goblins and said, "You should be thankful to be the subordinates of the Lord. The whole world belongs to the king." After a set of words, the goblins were not fools. It was obvious that they would die if they did not surrender. They immediately chanted in unison, "The Lord is great." Soon, the goblins all surrendered, but they did not expect that the heart of the tribe had also changed and became a subordinate force of the Black Technology Castle. The change in the heart of the tribe affected the psychological activities of the goblins, and they became truly devout and surrendered. So far, these goblins have become Tang Xiaofan's subjects, and like the warriors and farmers, they regard Tang Xiaofan as a god. This has opened up a new chapter for Tang Xiaofan to become a god with faith and recruit believers in the future. Black Technology Castle. Tang Xiaofan had a bright smile on his face. In front of him were the spoils brought back by the warriors. More than 200 sets of goblin equipment. Among them, most of them are low-level equipment. A few equipments have reached the middle level. Their owners are elite goblins and several commander-level goblins. The value of middle-level equipment is at least 10 times that of low-level equipment. Although the number here is not large, the total value is not low. In general, he made a fortune in this war. Moreover, after conquering the goblin tribe in the underground world, he will make a fortune. It's a pity that so many elite goblins and commander-level goblins were killed. But there are no more soulstones and blueprints. Tang Xiaofan felt a little regretful. Soulstones have always been in short supply. As for blueprints, that's purely because the explosion rate is too low. However, Tang Xiaofan didn't think about it anymore and cast his eyes on those soulstones. This battle, I harvested 85 soulstones, in addition to the 448 soulstones stored in the castle warehouse. The total is 533. Farmer Factory finally can be upgraded. Farmer Factory, to upgrade to level 3, requires 500 soulstones. Tang Xiaofan's mind moved. Farmer Factory, upgrade materials. All gathered. Do you want to upgrade the military building? Farmer Factory? Yes, no. Tang Xiaofan immediately chose yes. In an instant, a rich golden light bloomed in the room of the farmer factory. The golden light was so dazzling that it was impossible to see the scene inside. It was not until more than 10 seconds later that the golden light gradually dissipated. Finally, the upgraded farmer factory appeared in Tang Xiaofan's field of vision. Farmer factory, unique military building, current level, level 3. You can specify to summon ordinary farmer masters, blacksmith masters, carpenter masters, chef masters, builder masters, warrior masters and mechanical masters. Upgrade required. 5,000 soulstones. PS. Level 3 farmer factory has a low probability of summoning farmers with special abilities. Farmer factory, upgraded to level 3. The iron house of the farmer factory has changed a little, adding some sense of technology, more electronic components, especially the appearance of neon lights, making the originally dull house suddenly tall and grand. I don't know if it's Tang Xiaofan's illusion. The size of the farmer's factory. It has expanded from the original 10 square meters to 30 meters. This is the biggest change. When I opened the door, I saw that there were tables, chairs, and benches inside. Level 3 farmer's factory. You can summon a mechanic. Tang Xiaofan was excited. This is the fundamental purpose of upgrading the arms building. The number of arms is directly related to the future of the castle's power. For Tang Xiaofan, the occupational classification of farmers is the key to victory. He is now very dependent on the Mark II armor. If there are enough mechanical personnel to develop a new production line together, then the automatically produced Mark II will be much better than the current manual production. Only in this way can the scale of the armor core become larger and larger. In addition to the original profession becoming a master, the farmer's factory has another improvement. That is, the probability of special farmers has also increased. At level 1, it was a very low probability. At level 2, it was a low probability. And now at level 3, the probability has become lower. Obviously, the probability has increased. The possibility of summoning special farmers has also increased. All Tang Xiaofan summoned were ordinary farmers, warriors or other professions, and no special farmers had appeared. The farmer's factory had never given him a surprise. He expected that the upgraded farmer's factory would bring him good luck. You can start summoning the mechanic. Do you want to summon the mechanic? Yes. No summon. Tang Xiaofan did not choose no. Soon, the farmer's factory was enveloped by a dazzling white light. A moment later, a big man wearing blue overalls and a helmet appeared in front of Tang Xiaofan. Meet the Lord. In just a moment, Tang Xiaofan's eyes lit up. This mechanic looks pretty good. At least he's a professional. Today is definitely my lucky day. Facing Tang Xiaofan, the mechanic's expression was slightly excited, and his eyes were filled with an extremely firm belief. In his heart, Tang Xiaofan was him. He was the almighty Lord. He was a great existence. Tang Xiaofan was the only hope to save the continent of gods and demons. It was not just a simple slogan. It represented the most firm belief in the hearts of the warriors. Lord. The new mechanic saluted Tang Xiaofan respectfully. Tang Xiaofan nodded slightly, with a smile on his face. Tang Xiaofan was very happy. He quickly arranged for him to check on the progress of the Mark II armor in the blacksmith shop. The mechanic's name was Ge. He performed his duties very faithfully. He not only visited the blacksmith shop, but also looked at the weapons workshop, wood workshop and stone workshop. Finally, his eyes fell on the center of the town, inside the castle now. There are several machine tools here, which is where Tang Xiaofan made the prototype of the Mark armor. Looking at the busy Ge, Tang Xiaofan was thinking about the next plan. The farmer's factory is upgraded to level 3. The next thing to consider is to upgrade the castle level and build an advanced building metal laboratory. In a short period of time, it is difficult for the farmer's factory to be upgraded again. Unless there is a large-scale war, it is possible. Because the farmer's factory needs 5,000 soulstones to be upgraded to level 4. Compared with the upgrade to level 3, the demand has increased tenfold. It is difficult to gather such a number of soulstones in a short time. But Tang Xiaofan is not in a hurry. At this stage, only a few castle lords have upgraded their military buildings to level 2. And he has already upgraded his military buildings to level 3. He is ahead of hundreds of castle lords. And he is far ahead. The ones who should be anxious are those castle lords who have advanced, or even top military buildings. Those people want to surpass him all the time. But obviously, this is not easy. If nothing unexpected happens. Today we can upgrade the Black Tech Castle to a Black Tech Town. If the equipment auction tonight is a little more powerful, maybe even a metal laboratory can be built at the same time. Tang Xiaofan is looking forward to tonight's auction. And he is very sure that his wish can definitely be achieved. If you're listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means they downloaded and uploaded it without effort. We cordially invite you to visit our channel, Mundo Fanfic Novelos. There you'll find the original version of this story and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We're waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Chapter 62. The shock brought by the surrender of the goblins. The dark underground world. The goblins were repairing the houses damaged by the battle. The broken city walls were also being repaired. The bodies of the dead goblins gathered together and were burned to ashes by the warriors. The traces of the war were being erased bit by bit. Soon, this goblin tribe would return to normal. The warriors controlled the key underworld and patrolled the goblin tribe. Many goblins looked at them with reverence in their eyes. The warriors, the Iron Warriors, were powerful warriors created by the Lord. They were the peasants of the Almighty Lord walking in the plain world. Wherever the Iron Warriors appeared, it meant that the Almighty Lord was watching there. Respecting the Iron Warriors was the embodiment of their faith. They were right. Tang Xiaofan could easily see the situation here through Jarvis's vision sharing, and the goblin's loyalty and submission made him feel a little satisfied. Zhang Yi led a few warriors, crossed the 49 steps, and appeared in the giant stone palace. This fairly majestic stone palace originally belonged to an 18th level goblin chieftain. This is a forbidden area for ordinary goblins. Without permission, ordinary goblins cannot even approach the steps under the palace. At this time, the door to the palace's treasury has been opened. Under the order of the Four Wars, the goblins moved a large number of brand new equipment and soul stones from the treasury. There are more than 200 sets of equipment, all brand new. Among them, most are mid-level equipment, and there are only 2 sets of high-level equipment. There are more than 400 soul stones. Now, they all belong to Tang Xiaofan. What is this? In the treasure chest, Zhang Yi also found a ring. The ring is silver white throughout. It is made of special metal. What's strange is that the diameter of the ring is an astonishing 5 centimeters. This is definitely not a goblin thing. Not to mention goblins, even humans, the thickness of their fingers is less than 5 centimeters. Its original owner must be a giant. Zhang took the giant ring handed over by Zhang Yi. Looking at the 9 gems inlaid on the surface of the ring, he said, "This is the equipment of the giant, exuding powerful magic. The specific information cannot be seen. Take it back and give it to the Lord for identification." Yes. Zhang Yi nodded. Not long after, the treasure house was emptied by the goblins. Everything was piled up in the square outside the palace. This also included the spoils collected from the battlefield. In total, there were 640 sets of equipment and 758 soul stones. There were also a number of refined iron and other metals. This is a great harvest. Zhang looked at the huge stone palace in front of him and said, "This palace has no need to exist. It should be demolished, and the Lord's statue should be carved out of the huge stone materials in it to collect the power of faith of the goblin tribe for the Lord." Okay, let's do it. Zhang Yi waved the giant axe in his hand. It turned into a white light and chopped on the statue. With the powerful energy sweeping across, the huge stone palace suddenly collapsed with a rumble. Then the goblins gathered a large number of stones together. After being carved by the warriors, it finally became a stone statue about 10 meters high. 10 meters is about the height of a 3-story building. The statue is wearing armor, holding a scepter, and wearing a crown. The face is Tang Xiaofan, Lord. As soon as the statue appeared, the warriors immediately saluted respectfully. The goblins in the tribe also knelt on the ground and prayed to the statue. Zhang Yi said to the goblins, "Every sunset and dawn, you need to gather in the square and pray to the Lord. If you have firm faith, the Lord's light will naturally cover you. Lord, love your subjects. You will also protect his believers. Believe in the Lord. Your soul will live forever in the land of gods and demons. Even if you die unfortunately, you can still enjoy the care of the Lord and his glory. Praise the Lord." The goblins excitedly worshipped the statue of Tang Xiaofan. Under the influence of the heart of the tribe, the seeds of faith have been sown deep in the hearts of every goblin. The goblins in the tribe all became believers of Tang Xiaofan. Afterwards, the warriors summoned 100 adult goblins, packed the spoils piled up in the square into packages, and took them out of the underground world. A long time later, the warrior team had left. In the goblin tribe, there were still goblins kneeling in the square, praying to Tang Xiaofan's statue. "Almighty Lord, the greedy underground black dragon will harass your believers from time to time. The goblin tribe prays for your blessing. Pray for light, defeat darkness and evil." Black Technology Castle. Tang Xiaofan faintly heard a voice in his ear, but when he listened carefully, he couldn't hear anything. He reached out and picked his ears, suspecting that he had too much pressure recently and had auditory hallucinations. Tang Xiaofan didn't think much about it and waited for the warrior team to return. Not long after, all the members of the warrior team returned to the castle, accompanied by 100 goblins carrying large and small bags. The goblins piled the packages in the yard. Then they knelt down in front of Tang Xiaofan. "Almighty Lord, great creator God, your devout believers greet you. Praise you, who created all things and bestowed light and love on the world. Almighty Lord." Tang Xiaofan. Blue study room. Netizens who saw this scene burst into laughter, and it also eased their original nervousness. After all, it was the last day, and everyone was very worried. Now seeing a group of green monkey-like dwarfs, kneeling on the ground solemnly, kneeling down to Tang Xiaofan and praying, it was so funny. Haha, what did I see? Did the Dragon Country players recruit a group of monkeys? Yes, green monkeys. These are goblins. Don't you losers know goblins? Why are they kneeling down to Tang Xiaofan? Aren't the local forces and us Blue Star people mortal enemies? It seems that Tang Xiaofan is very charming and has a strong appeal to these native creatures. Not likely. He must be forcing the cute little green monkeys to worship him. In the live broadcast room of today's Gods and Demons continent, the guests were also delighted. It was rare that Tang Xiaofan did not come out to highlight himself and kept his views consistent with the other three. This is definitely a breakthrough. This shows that the local forces of this God and Demon continent can communicate. Yes, Tang Xiaofan is right. In this way, Tang Xiaofan may be able to unite with other forces in the future and even conquer them. Now, we don't have to worry about him being surrounded by local forces. After all, he is developing too fast now, and the tree that stands out in the forest will be destroyed by the wind. The chief's words found some comfort for everyone's worries today. There is no way. If Tang Xiaofan fails, then the dragon country will suffer huge losses. 100 times the loss. And the players of some countries have no hope of surviving the beast tide. Their countries have begun to collapse. Chapter 63 The boss I can only look up to. At this moment, Tang Xiaofan suddenly discovered another drawback after conquering the goblin tribe. When 100 dusty goblins knelt in front of him and shouted Almighty Lord with a fanatical look, anyone would be as embarrassed as Tang Xiaofan. However, Tang Xiaofan did not correct the title. He felt that he would not be embarrassed after hearing it more. Another point. It was because he was weak. Now that he felt embarrassed when he was promoted to a god in the future and dominated the entire God and Demon continent, such a title would surely be awesome. Tang Xiaofan waved his hand. Zhang Yi understood what he meant and ordered the goblins to return to the tribe and wait for the call. At the same time, Tang Xiaofan also learned that it was Zhang Yi's idea to subdue the goblin tribe. After the goblins left the castle, Zhang Yi personally handed over the most precious super quality weapons, soul stones, blueprints, and the strange giant ring and the spoils to Tang Xiaofan. Tang Xiaofan did not check them at the first time. Instead, he said to them, there are still a few hours before night falls. You lead the warrior team to continue hunting and clear out the wild monsters in the dense forest around the castle. The beast tide is essentially a concentrated riot of wild monsters. At that time, it is very likely that the originally scattered monsters will concentrate on attacking the nearest castle, and these monsters may also gain mutation abilities, becoming stronger or higher levels, and even the fire dragon should arrive as scheduled. On the contrary, the local forces of the God and Demon continent will not participate in attacking the castle at this time. On the contrary, they may also face the harassment of the beast tide. The black dragon that the goblin tribe has been talking about just now may be the monster that regularly harasses the goblin tribe. So Tang Xiaofan thinks that clearing out the wild monsters around the castle and reducing the number of monsters can greatly reduce the difficulty of the beast tide activities. Yes, Lord. The warriors saluted respectfully and then walked out of the castle in unison. They are very enthusiastic about hunting because it can quickly improve their strength. All the warriors were looking forward to upgrading their levels as soon as possible. At that time, they would be able to help the Lord more effectively. Tang Xiaofan took the super quality weapon. This is a giant sword made of fine iron. It is about 1.5 meters long, 60 centimeters wide, and the thickness of the sword spine reaches 13 centimeters. This is a real giant sword. Even for Tang Xiaofan, it is the same. It is really hard to imagine that the short goblins would use such a giant weapon. Its owner should be the two-headed demon. Sword of the Goblin Chieftain. Grade. Super quality. Effect. Increase the user's attack power. Description. Originally a high-level equipment, it was promoted to the super quality grade after being calcined by the fire. After being refined, it will become a rare king-level magic equipment. This is the information identified by Tang Xiaofan. It turned out that it was forged by the fire, that is, the effect of the incendiary bomb. This sword was promoted to a super quality. This is something Tang Xiaofan did not expect. The flame temperature of the incendiary bomb is so high that it actually has the effect of refining equipment. Of course, not all equipment can be refined by fire. If it is low-level equipment or mid-level equipment, it will be burned to ashes when it encounters the fire of incendiary bombs. Even for high-level equipment, only a few can barely withstand the burning of incendiary bombs. And after a long time, it will still be melted. This is because of the material of the equipment. This sword of the Goblin Chieftain does not need to be auctioned for the time being. Zhang Yi and the others can use it. Tang Xiaofan put away the sword of the goblin chieftain. This super weapon can greatly enhance Zhang Yi's combat effectiveness to deal with the crisis of the beast side. Then, he looked at other spoils of war. In the yard, there are a lot of equipment, soulstones and other supplies. After counting, in the battle against the goblin tribe, a total of 903 sets of equipment were obtained. Among them, there are 5 sets of high-level equipment, 89 sets of mid-level equipment, and the rest are low-level equipment. A total of more than 1,200 soulstones were harvested. 2,300 units of refined iron. Special metals, about 100 units. Tang Xiaofan's face was full of smiles. Whether it was equipment, soulstones, or important materials such as refined iron, they were all great harvests. His strategic plan to send a team of warriors to attack the goblin tribe was obviously very successful. Afterwards, Tang Xiaofan stored all the important materials such as soulstones in the castle warehouse. As for the goblin equipment, Tang Xiaofan left only 5 sets of high-level equipment, waiting for the auction in the evening. The rest of the equipment was divided into 20 parts and put on the trading channel. It was used to exchange for materials such as wood, stone, and refined iron. Nearly 900 sets of equipment were put on the shelves together, which immediately shocked the circle of the castle lord. Countless people vented their shock in the world chat channel. Oh my god. Is this true? Big brother Tang Xiaofan is simply invincible. With this pile of nearly 900 sets of goblin equipment, how many goblins did Big brother Tang Xiaofan kill? Big brother Tang Xiaofan has wiped out an ogre tribe before. Has the big brother changed his target of conquest to a goblin tribe now? So many goblin equipment. The one wiped out by big brother Tang Xiaofan was definitely a medium-sized goblin tribe with thousands of goblins. Usually, a medium-sized goblin tribe has several commander-level goblins. Big brother Tang Xiaofan's castle is so powerful that it can wipe out such a tribe. By conquering the goblin tribe, Big brother Tang Xiaofan must have made a fortune. Not only equipment, but also a large number of soulstones and even blueprints. Don't mention a medium-sized tribe, even a small goblin tribe. My castle dare not provoke it. It's the same for me. At most, I can only hunt some small-scale wild monsters. Is this the difference between the bottom-level losers and the top big brothers? I envy you. Envy +1. To this day, there are still a few castle lords with top-level troops selling equipment in the trading channel. These top castle lords are not short of equipment, but they don't need it, because their troops are all exotic beasts. They can't wear equipment. So far, equipment is still very scarce. The main reason is that it is too difficult to obtain equipment. You must kill intelligent creatures in human form to get equipment. And the intelligent creatures in human form represent the local forces of the god and demon continent. Even the top castle lords dare not provoke them easily. After all, there is only one Tang Xiaofan. Most of the castle lords who sell equipment in the trading area are lucky. They occasionally encounter local forces of small troops, and after destroying them, they harvest a small amount of equipment. Because of this, the number of equipment they sell in the trading area is very small. Generally, it is around dozens of sets. How can it be like Tang Xiaofan? He sold nearly 900 sets of equipment at once. Such a big deal is enough to shock any castle lord. Even the castle lords with top level troops can only look up. Chapter 64. Career Evolution to Become a Top Mechanical Master. On the endless prairie, Bear Grylls looked at the rows of equipment that appeared on the trading channel. He was silent for a long time. The strength of Boss Tang Xiaofan's castle is getting stronger and stronger. Before, he wiped out only a small ogre tribe and harvested more than 100 sets of equipment. After just a few days, he attacked a medium-sized goblin tribe and got a great harvest. Ask yourself, his giant bear castle is far less powerful than Tang Xiaofan's castle. Just this morning, when he was hunting in the wild, he also discovered a local force, the grassland dog-headed tribe. There are more than 500 dog-headed people living in the tribe, which is a small tribe. But he didn't dare to provoke it, and could only stay away from it. Now, he has dozens of ancient giant bears under his command, the most powerful of which is level 14. The ancient giant bear stands more than 5 meters tall, with extremely strong defense all over the body and explosive attack power. But even so, he didn't dare to take the risk of attacking the dog-headed tribe. It's not that he can't attack such a small tribe, but he is worried that his ancient giant bear will suffer casualties. He didn't want his troops to be damaged, so as not to affect the upcoming beast tide. But what about Tang Xiaofan? He attacked the local forces of the god and demon continent one after another. First the ogre tribe, then the goblin tribe. It was as if he didn't care about the casualties of his troops at all. Could it be Tang Xiaofan's troops are the undead? The biggest advantage of the undead troops is their tenacious vitality. As long as the soul fire is not extinguished, they can be reborn. And if it is an undead troop that can summon the undead, it would be even more abnormal. At least in the early stage, the castle lords who have this kind of troops are in a leading position. Benyi suspected Tang Xiaofan's troops are related to the undead. Otherwise, how could Tang Xiaofan keep attacking the local forces of the god and demon continent? This is crazy. Like Benyi, many castle lords speculated that Tang Xiaofan's troops belonged to some kind of top-level undead, fearless of death, able to be reborn, and even summon the dead with the help of the enemy's corpse. This can explain why Tang Xiaofan can be so far ahead, and why dare to conquer the local forces of the god and demon continent, not afraid of casualties in the army. Some people suspect that Tang Xiaofan's army is a death knight, or even a lich. Some people also suspect that Tang Xiaofan's army is a skeleton king, who can summon a skeleton army, and so on. Various speculations are endless. Of course, speculation is just speculation after all. Tang Xiaofan has never directly responded to the question of what is the army. No matter what, my goal has always been the only reward in the Beast Tide event. As long as I can get it, I believe it is not impossible to surpass Tang Xiaofan. Tang Xiaofan's castle power is very powerful, ahead of all castle lords. But many times, the right time and place are equally important. The most powerful person may not always be able to walk in the front. Thinking of this, Benyi's mood was also much more relaxed. It's not that he has no hope of getting the only reward. All castle lords have the opportunity to become lucky. It depends on who has the luck. There are many castle lords who have the same idea as Bear Grylls. They always believe that the one who walks in the front may not necessarily have the last laugh. There are even castle lords who expect that Tang Xiaofan's castle troops will suffer heavy losses in the Beast Tide activity and fall from the altar. At that time, their chance to step on Tang Xiaofan to rise to the top will come. Forest, Black Technology Castle. Tang Xiaofan did not pay attention to the lively world chat channel. His eyes were fixed on the two items in his hands. A blue drawing. An exaggeratedly large silver white ring. An unknown drawing was found. Do you want to identify it? Yes. No. Tang Xiaofan immediately chose yes. Suddenly, a white light appeared out of thin air and enveloped the drawing in his hand. It took only 2 seconds. The white light disappeared. The original appearance of the drawing was revealed. It was still blue, densely covered with countless magical runes. But the information had changed. Rare evolution blueprint. Professional evolution. Rank. Advanced. Effect. You can evolve one of your soldiers to the highest level of the profession. Special reminder. The rarer the soldier, the lower the success rate of evolution. Castle lords must think carefully before using the professional evolution blueprint. It's a special blueprint? Tang Xiaofan was a little surprised. Blueprints are divided into 3 categories. Building blueprints, equipment blueprints, and special blueprints. Compared with the first 2 blueprints, the third special blueprint is rarer. There are many types of special blueprints. Professional evolution is obviously one of them. Tang Xiaofan said to himself, as expected of an 18th level Lord level Goblin Chieftain, he can actually explode a career evolution blueprint. Although the grade is only high level, it is also very lucky. So, which profession should this career evolution blueprint be used for? As for the success rate, it must be very high. My army is a farmer, the most common army. Forget it, let the mechanic evolve first. There is no need to be too anxious about other professions. The most urgent task is to increase the output of war armor. Without mechanics, there is no hope for automated assembly lines. That's right, Tang Xiaofan now feels that he can't be too anxious to expand because the fire dragon came last time and the goblin empire this time. The increasingly powerful himself will provoke the hostility of many local forces. Just as he considered before, his strength is not strong enough to ignore all enemies. So, he thought it through and gave this blueprint to the mechanic. Machine 1, come here. The summoned mechanic was thinking about the machine tools in the castle workshop. He took out several assembly line transformation plans. To be honest, in Tang Xiaofan's eyes, they were simply garbage. Sir, why don't you give him the assembly line plan I provided? Jarvis, your plan is too advanced. We can't implement it yet. But, sir, this is the plan. I have tried my best to lower the requirements. Ge came. His current mechanical level is that of a maintenance worker, so he has been thinking about it for a long time, but still hasn't gotten started. Tang Xiaofan clicked on the career evolution diagram and chose a mechanic evolution. A blue light fell from the sky and landed on Ge. His appearance changed. The blue suspenders turned into a white coat. His figure became lean, and he was no longer a big and strong man. My lord, I'm now a top mechanical master and I'm willing to serve you. Ge changed his image and temperament, but his loyalty to Tang Xiaofan did not change at all. Good. Tang Xiaofan took a look and thought that this was what a cutting-edge talent looked like. Ge, how do you think we should build the assembly line? My lord, I think we should develop an automatic robot first. Automatic robot? Yes, after the robot is successfully developed, the machine tools here can be used. Moreover, Jarvis can also control the robot, so the production efficiency will be greatly improved. Good idea. Chapter 65. Build a high-precision robotic arm. As expected, it is a top-level profession, and the ideas proposed are quite good. Jarvis also immediately provided a feasible robotic arm solution from the database. After Ge took it and took a few glances, he immediately said that he could build it. Facts have also proved that Ge's hands are born to build things. Once he enters the working state, Ge's face is a pair of extremely serious eyes. The hand holding the tweezers did not tremble at all. Each part can be placed precisely where it should be, with almost no error. With the joint production of Tang Xiaofan and the two, soon, the last part was also installed and then covered with a metal shell. The first robotic arm was completed. At first glance, it is no different from the robotic arms in most factories, except that there are more joints and the transmission structure looks a little more complicated. But if you look closer, you will know how complicated this robotic arm is. The construction of each robotic arm is broken down, and there are more than 10,000 parts. The smallest part is less than 1 mm in diameter. Wait, here is an introduction. Suddenly, Tang Xiaofan saw the introduction of the robotic arm. High precision robotic arm. Ultra high flexibility robotic arm. The robotic arm adopts a multi-joint structure, which can realize 4-axis independent movement without interfering with each other. Modular design. Replaceable dexterous hands. Enough to handle any complex working conditions. The maximum operating accuracy reaches nanometer level. The introduction is full of boasting words. However, this robotic arm has indeed reached the level of top technology. Because of the honeycomb battery, there is no shortage of electricity. Sir, the power supply of the robotic arm has been restored, and the voltage is stable. Hearing Jarvis's reminder, Tang Xiaofan couldn't wait to say, Jarvis, try your arm quickly. Yes, sir. Yes, Lord. Jarvis, who had been waiting for a long time, immediately connected the installed robotic arm, and soon worked with Machine 1 to manufacture other robotic arms. A total of 4 were manufactured, 2 of which were fixed on the top of the workshop, and the other 2 were equipped with bases with motors and wheels, becoming movable. During the installation process, Jarvis also modified the robotic arm, make it more suitable for his own use. Sir, 4 robotic arms have been manufactured. Okay, Jarvis, test it. As soon as the voice fell, the 4 robotic arms in the basement started to work at the same time. Each joint moved. It seemed to be testing flexibility and accuracy. Sir, the robotic arms are working normally. Hearing this, Tang Xiaofan immediately stood in the center of the basement. Jarvis, put on the Mark II armor. As soon as the voice fell, The 4 robotic arms moved together and quickly put the parts of the Mark II armor on Tang Xiaofan. The whole process was precise and fast. Originally, the soldiers had to work for most of the day. The 4 robotic arms took less than 30 seconds to complete the wearing. Very good, take it off. Tang Xiaofan nodded with satisfaction. The robotic arms moved again and took off the Mark II armor from Tang Xiaofan in a shorter time. Immediately, Tang Xiaofan recruited 9 top mechanics and asked Ji Yi to lead them to start a separate robotic arm operation workshop to produce Mark II armor. Once this workshop is completed, the production of Mark II armor can be increased. Of course, intelligent wearables cannot be made now, but mechanical armware can at least speed up the reaction speed of soldiers. By the way, Ji, you build a special armor wearing workshop so that soldiers can save some effort when wearing them. At least it can be quickly worn in the castle. After Tang Xiaofan gave instructions, he cast his eyes on the silver white ring. This is a ring-shaped ring. The outer ring surface is surrounded by 9 gemstones, and the appearance is good. Its diameter reaches 5 centimeters, which is a bit exaggerated. If it weren't for the information on it showing that it is a ring, Tang Xiaofan would even suspect that it is a bracelet. Found an unknown equipment ring. Do you want to identify it? Yes, no. Tang Xiaofan chose yes. Then, a white light appeared out of thin air, shining on the silver white ring. This is the light of identification, which can identify the specific properties of the item. Unknown drawings, unknown equipment, unknown items, etc. can be identified by the lord of the castle. Soon, the white light dissipated. The information of the ring was fully presented. Cyclops ring, full of magic power, rank, king rank, effect 1, contains 10 cubic meters of space, can store items. Effect 2, when the magic power is sufficient, you can release 3 high level magics, the light of natural protection. Effect 3, has a certain deterrent effect on the Cyclops clan. Special reminder, this is a treasure of the Cyclops clan in the forest. Wearing it will attract the attention of the Cyclops clan and increase their hatred value. It's actually a king level equipment. Tang Xiaofan showed a surprised expression on his face. This is the highest ranking equipment he has obtained so far. The most important thing is that the Cyclops ring is also a space ring that can store and retrieve items. This is of great practical value to Tang Xiaofan. The only bad thing is, it is a treasure of the Cyclops clan, symbolizing royal power. After wearing it, you will be hostile to the Cyclops clan. After a moment of silence, Tang Xiaofan chose to ignore the Cyclops clan. His castle has been blacklisted by the Goblin Kingdom, so he doesn't care about provoking another Cyclops tribe. What's more, his first stage goal is to rule the forest, build his own power. The Black Technology Castle and the local wisdom forces in the forest will go to war sooner or later. Since they are enemies after all, why should they be afraid? How does the Cyclops ring recognize its master? Explore your own spiritual power and establish a spiritual connection with the magic equipment. Magic equipment? Tang Xiaofan looked at the Cyclops ring in his hand. I never thought that it was actually magic equipment. The super grade Goblin Chief Sword is not magic equipment, but can only be regarded as the most powerful and top level ordinary equipment. He looked at the 9 gems embedded in the outer ring of the ring. Only then did he realize that they were all soul stones. Tang Xiaofan immediately had the urge to take them all down. After all, these are 9 soul stones. But in the end, Tang Xiaofan still chose to give up. The space equipment that can retrieve and store items is still of great value. Besides, the farmer's factory still has a long way to go before it can be upgraded to level 4. It would be a waste to take away the 9 exotic crystals now and lose a king level space equipment. Explore my own spiritual power, Tang Xiaofan said to himself. As a level 6 life form, he has spiritual power. Of course, all intelligent creatures have spiritual power. The only difference is strength. For powerful creatures, their spiritual power can be released to kill enemies and can even be condensed into substance. For weak creatures, their spiritual power is very weak. Tang Xiaofan didn't know how to mobilize his own spiritual power. He tried several times but failed. Just when he was about to ask again, he suddenly felt something strange happening in his body. Chapter 66 The collision between black fans and true fans. Tang Xiaofan carefully sensed the abnormality in his body, and his eyes were focused on the Cyclops ring. After a moment, it seemed that something flew out from his forehead and extended to the Cyclops ring. Tang Xiaofan knew that this should be his mental power. It was very subtle, but it did not disappear from the body. Finally, his mental power penetrated into the Cyclops ring and successfully established a connection. Almost in an instant, Tang Xiaofan saw the inner space of the ring. The inner space in the ring was very small. After all, it was only 10 cubic meters. It was also empty inside, with nothing stored. I think, even if there was something stored in the ring, it was taken away by the Goblin Chief. From now on, this Cyclops ring belongs to me. Tang Xiaofan's mental power was attached to the ring. Outsiders will not be able to peek into the world inside the ring, unless his mental power is forcibly destroyed, and the connection between him and the Cyclops is cut off. In other words, if he dies one day, his mental power disappears. The Cyclops ring will become an ownerless thing again. Tang Xiaofan shook his head and shook off the weird thoughts in his mind. He tried to wear the Cyclops ring on his wrist. It was a bit difficult, and he couldn't wear it. Finally, Tang Xiaofan found a rope, tied the ring, and wore it directly around his neck. Then, Tang Xiaofan took out all the stored soul stones and the sword of the Goblin Chief from the castle warehouse, and put them into the Cyclops ring. Space equipment is still very practical. It only takes one thought to store and retrieve. Especially after leaving the castle and being in the wild, its practical value is higher. After doing all this, Tang Xiaofan raised his head, looking at the protective cover covering the entire black technology castle. It flickers and has invincible defense. It's a pity that it will disappear at 12 o'clock tonight. In the evening, the smoke from cooking rose, and the world chat channel was still very lively. Everyone was nostalgic for time, because today was the last night of the novice period. Tomorrow, it will still be evening, but the situation of the castle lords is completely different. All the castle lords will face a cruel living environment. The disappearance of the protective shield means that the real test is coming. Those who are not adaptable will be eliminated. The God and Demon continent has always been a cruel world. Only the fittest can survive. The world chat channel is still lively. The castle lords are enjoying the remaining peaceful time. Some are afraid, some are panicking, and some are desperate. There are also confident people who look forward to the future. Most of these confident people are castle lords with advanced or top level arms. They are ready to join the 10,000 races contest. There is a contestant from the sweet potato country named Tamuka, who even said in the world chat channel that the real great era is coming. Tamuka claimed that he would surpass all the castle lords, represent Blue Star in the God and Demon continent contest of 10,000 races, and stand at the top of the God and Demon continent. He is very arrogant and confident. Because Tamuka randomly got the top level arms, Titan Giant. Titans are the ancient gods who once ruled the world in mythology. They are about 10 meters tall and have great strength. Not only can they split mountains and expand the sea, but they also hold lightning in their hands and launch long-range attacks. Moreover, they are immune to all magic attacks and are the mortal enemies of the Dragon Clan. No wonder he is so arrogant, because his titans are so powerful. Even dragons came to harass his castle, but they were injured and fled by the titans. However, soon, Tamuka was collectively attacked by countless castle lords. Tang Xiaofan, who is known as the strongest castle lord, has never said such a thing. It's just that he has top level soldiers. What qualifications do he have to talk big and suppress everyone? After all, he is not the only castle lord who randomly gets top level soldiers. Bear Grylls of Ugly Country, Forel of Pipe Country, Sal of Maple Leaf Country, etc. These big guys on Blue Star are all people who have sold monster equipment in the trading market. Although these big guys are not as powerful as Tang Xiaofan, they have truly proved themselves and have the ability to defeat at least elite monsters. But Tamuka from the sweet potato country, who only has empty words and has not proved anything, came here to speak wildly. Some people even pointed out that the Titans are not invincible. His Death Legion is the nemesis of the Titans, and asked Tamuka not to be arrogant. However, Tamuka was very strong and did not back down. He released a king level staff in the trading channel but marked the sky-high price of 999,999 soul stones to prove his ability, and he made another statement. He claimed that Tang Xiaofan and others were just temporary leaders, and now they have entered the new era of the god and demon continent and the hegemony of all races. The strong may still become the last, or even be killed by the waves, and be silent forever. The one who is leading now is not considered the leader, only the one who has been leading all the time is a real leader, and he believes that Tang Xiaofan's troops must be flying dragons, which are the troops restrained by his titans. If it weren't for the dragon-like troops, how could Tang Xiaofan have achieved a lossless harvest? You know, ogres and goblins are races that have no resistance to the dragon's might. Tang Xiaofan is just lucky. If he had met me, he would have had to kneel down and beg for mercy. These players from Blue Star naturally would not agree with his statement and accused him one after another. Nonsense. How do you know that Tang Xiaofan's troops are dragons? It could also be angels. Yes, it could also be the Phoenix Clan. The Phoenix Clan is reborn from the ashes and is immortal. It could even be the armored forces of Blue Star. My troops are machine gunners, and I can also kill monsters without loss. What's wrong with that? These people have all received Tang Xiaofan's favor, because although Tang Xiaofan raised the price of food to a higher level, he is one of the few castle lords who is willing to sell food. Sometimes, it's not a question of eating more or less, but a question of whether there is food. These people were able to buy food and avoid the rebellion of their troops. They would all owe Tang Xiaofan a favor. Seeing Tang Xiaofan being dissed, they naturally stood up to support him. However, Temuka did not give up. Then, he spoke for the third time. He claimed that he would lead the invincible Titan Giant army to suppress the Beast Tide, win the only reward of the Beast Tide event, and trample Tang Xiaofan and other big guys under his feet. He himself would become the only true god of Blue Star and compete with the local forces of the god and demon continent. Other Blue Star people would submit to him. Such arrogant words naturally caused countless castle lords to refute. Among them, some are fans of Tang Xiaofan, including a large number of female fans. With sharp words, they angrily rebuked the speaker. Arrogance is fine. Why do you have to involve Tang Xiaofan and regard their idol as a stepping stone? However, where there are fans, there will naturally be opponents. So someone refuted that, since Tang Xiaofan is known as the strongest castle lord, he is naturally the goal for the castle lord to surpass. If Tang Xiaofan loses power, then it is normal to become a stepping stone to the top castle master. Soon, a war of words about who is the savior of Blue Star officially began. This is a collision between black fans and true fans. Chapter 67. Long-awaited equipment sale. Even divided into several different organizations, Ugly Country naturally has a group of traditional allies to support it, and the representative of Dragon Country, Tang Xiaofan, was regarded as a big boss by the first-class players of Kimchi Country and Korea Country, as well as Rice Country and Pakistan. And the traitor of Sakura Country defected to Miracle Country. The players of Miracle Country were overjoyed and claimed to give 10,000 cow dung to the player Meichuan Kui of Sakura Country to build fortifications. As for Temuka, the lord of the castle who made 3 arrogant remarks, he was directly forgotten. This kind of small character who is trying to stand out, no one cares about him at all. This kind of person may die in this beast tide after talking big, and it is not worth taking seriously at all. Some people even speculated that the king level staff that Temuka took out was simply opened from a box, and there was no level 18 elite monster for him to fight. In short, the world chat channel was very lively. Countless castle lords vented their negative emotions on it. The novice protection period is about to end, which has brought great pressure to many castle lords. Tang Xiaofan browsed the chat messages for a while and closed it. The castle lord who had the top level titan threatened to step on him and surpass all the castle lords to stand at the top of the god and demon continent. This was indeed a bit arrogant. However, he didn't bother to refute it. After all, what's the use of talking big? In the end, they still had to fight with real swords and guns. Who would win at that time? In Tang Xiaofan's opinion, these compatriots from Blue Star were not enough to fight his legion together. Because the mechanical arm workshop is about to be completed, and the Mark II armor production line is about to start operation. Moreover, after all, it is just like what someone refuted in the chat channel just now. Compared with the huge base of hundreds of castle lords with top level arms can be said to be rare. But if all the top castle lords are gathered together, that number is really not small. That castle lord is just one of them. What's more, there are also differences in strength among the top arms. The Titan is by no means the most powerful one. However, he said that he would suppress all the castle lords. This is really too confident, and he doesn't take other top castle masters seriously. It's normal to cause countless people to be angry. As for Tang Xiaofan, he didn't take that person seriously. His Mark armor, combined with the most ordinary farmers, will form a crushing advantage. Beyond the top, if the two sides fight, his farmer army can beat that person's Titan giant army into a dwarf army. Because he decided to summon a full 1000 warriors tonight and be fully prepared for the beast tide tomorrow. The warrior team should be back soon. Tang Xiaofan's eyes were cast on the dense forest outside the castle. The night has enveloped the dense forest. The wild monsters began to rage. Their strength increased by 3 times, and angry roars came one after another. The night is still dangerous. At this moment, in the distant dense forest, there was a dazzling white light flashing continuously. That was the flashing light when the machine gun fired tracer bullets, which contained pure destructive power. The dense forest was shaking, and there were wild monsters wailing. Obviously, the warrior team returning to the castle encountered an attack by a wild monster in a violent state. The two sides were fighting. It didn't take long for the dense forest to calm down. There was no white light shining, and the wailing of wild monsters could not be heard. Not long after, the warriors flew back to the castle with a large number of wild monster corpses. Obviously, the winner of this short battle belongs to the warrior team. In fact, with the current strength of the warrior team, hunting at night is no longer a problem. Even if they encounter a level 18 lord monster in a violent state, the warrior team can still win. Only monsters above level 18 can threaten the warrior team, such as the adult fire dragon. Although the adult fire dragon only came once, and has long gone. So far, Tang Xiaofan has only seen it once. But Tang Xiaofan will not forget it, nor will he relax his vigilance against it. Because at the beginning, Tang Xiaofan saw the murderous intent in its golden vertical pupils. Tang Xiaofan believes the adult fire dragon will come back sooner or later and attack his black technology castle. He has long been prepared to slay the dragon. Lord. After the warriors piled up the bodies of wild monsters in the yard, they saluted Tang Xiaofan respectfully. Every warrior's eyes were very fanatical, and they had the highest and firm belief in Tang Xiaofan. Tang Xiaofan nodded slightly, motioning them to go to the newly built automatic workshop and let the mechanical arm help take off the Mark armor, then wash up, eat, and have a good rest. At 12 o'clock in the evening, all members must be prepared to deal with the disappearing protective shield in the coming beast tide. On the contrary, in front of the castle, the dense forest shook, as if countless wild monsters were wandering nearby. At the same time, the roars of monsters were also very dense. During the day, they were killed by the warrior team and fled everywhere, and dared not approach the castle. But at night, their strength increased 3 times. Under the influence of the blood moon, their temperaments also became extremely manic. They lost their fear, and no longer feared death. They gathered together to surround the black technology castle. Some wild monsters were still attacking the castle's protective shield, and their heads were broken and bleeding. Finally, they fell to the ground, and were dragged away, and eaten by other monsters. There were also wild monsters of the bird type hovering in the sky, swooping down from time to time, attacking the castle's protective shield, then losing balance, and falling to the ground to be dismembered. From the side, it can be seen that this is a world full of crises. However, Tang Xiaofan was not affected, because he had become accustomed to all this in the days since he came. He watched the farmers collect and decompose all the wild monster corpses piled up in the yard. In one afternoon, the warrior team hunted about 200 wild monsters. They harvested 2,700 units of food and a number of materials from the monsters. Tang Xiaofan traded all of this food to the little Lalita in the underground world in exchange for the refined iron she collected and forged. It's almost time. Tang Xiaofan glanced at the world chat channel. There were already a large number of castle lords reminding him that it was half an hour before 8 o'clock to start selling equipment. The 900 sets of goblin equipment sold by Tang Xiaofan in the morning could not satisfy their appetite at all. Even 900 sets, let alone 9,000 sets of equipment, would be quickly digested by the castle kings. It's a pity that the equipment is difficult to explode. Only Tang Xiaofan has a large amount of equipment for sale. They are eager to be the lucky ones and grab the equipment, even if they can only grab a small part, because the novice protection period will end in a few hours. Not to mention the upcoming beast tide. Just the wild monsters wandering around their castle at night are enough to force them to do everything they can to improve the strength of their troops. If they can't improve their strength, they can't deal with the violent monsters outside the castle. Maybe they can't even survive tonight, let alone the beast tide. Chapter 68, a transaction with the Dark Iron Dwarf Castle. There is no doubt about this, the cruel test of survival is sweeping in. Tang Xiaofan speculated that there will definitely be a large number of castle lords who will not survive Lingwen and will not see the sun tomorrow. The god and demon continent is so cruel, and it is the survival of the fittest here. Some castle lords with weak strength are destined to be eliminated. Tang Xiaofan did not think much. He opened the friend column and contacted the little lolly in the underground world. The underground world is a dim space. A grey castle is located alone. Inside and outside the castle, a large number of short figures gathered. They are the Dark Iron Dwarf clan. This is Kez Dark Iron Dwarf Castle. The little lolly with a grey face is standing on the third floor balcony of the castle, waving her little hand, directing the Dark Iron Dwarfs to throw the iron, or collected today into the smelting furnace to forge fine iron. On the east side of the castle yard, there is also a refinery shop, where 20 Dark Iron Dwarf blacksmiths are making equipment. From time to time, 2 Dark Iron Dwarves carry a large wooden box and walk out of the refinery shop. The wooden box was filled with standard equipment, including defensive leather armor, simple iron armor, offensive broadswords, maces, etc. However, these were just ordinary equipment. Most of them were low-risk equipment, and a few refined equipment reached the middle level. There were no high-level equipment. As for the more powerful magic equipment, drawings were needed to make it. But even if it was just ordinary low-level and middle-level equipment, it was precious to the castle lord at this stage. After all, many of the castle lord's humanoid soldiers were still barehanded. At most, they could only hold a wooden stick, a wooden spear, a handmade wooden arrow, etc. Standard equipment such as iron tools could not be made without a blacksmith shop. That's why the equipment Tang Xiaofan put on the shelf was so popular. The 900 sets of goblin equipment he put up in the morning were snapped up in just a few seconds. Come on, everyone. Work hard. The little lawless crisp and tender voice sounded in the dim underground world, and it did not have the power to inspire people. But when the black iron dwarves in the castle heard it, their blood boiled. They worked harder and harder. At this moment, a large number of shadows appeared outside the castle. Kea shrank her neck and dared not say anything. The underground world is actually more dangerous and cruel than the surface world, because it is full of all kinds of dark and evil creatures. She even saw a large number of undead marching in the distance 2 days ago, and finally disappeared in the darkness. Fortunately, this army of undead did not find the Black Iron Castle, otherwise I really don't know what to do. In addition, there are also the notorious human-faced spiders, dark elves, cyclops and so on in the underground world. These dark races are not only cruel and bloodthirsty, but also powerful, and are the overlords of the underground. If these dark races find her castle, the weak black iron dwarves can't resist them at all. Fortunately, those shadows are not enemies, but the same black iron dwarves. Uncle Xavier. That's great. The little girl saw the leading shadow clearly, and ran down the city in joy. A middle-aged dark iron dwarf was walking towards her. He was only about 1 meter tall, but he carried an exaggeratedly large fine iron giant sword on his back. Although he was short, every step this middle-aged dark iron dwarf took seemed to shake the earth. And behind him followed hundreds of dark iron dwarfs, each of whom was an elite warrior. Princess Kea. Dark iron dwarf Xavier showed a kind smile on his face. He was the 18th level peak strongman who took the initiative to surrender to the Dark Iron Dwarf Castle, the Earth Swordsman of the Dark Iron Dwarf clan. Now, he has fulfilled his promise. He brought more than 100 elite Dark Iron Dwarf warriors to help the little girl guard the castle, and 135 Dark Iron Dwarf warriors took the initiative to surrender to you. Do you choose to accept? Yes, no. Kenna immediately chose yes. Just kidding. Of course I have to choose yes. Then the Dark Iron Dwarf Xavier led the Dark Iron Dwarf warriors into the castle. Greetings, Princess Kenna. The Dark Iron Dwarf warriors also saluted the little Lalita respectfully. Their loyalty reached about 97 points. This is an incredible value. Most of the soldiers recruited by the castle lord himself do not have such a high loyalty, let alone the local intelligent creatures who defected. It can only mean that the little Lalita's charm is too high, which can directly affect the loyalty of the soldiers under her command. Yeah, good evening, everyone. Then Kenna said excitedly, thank you so much, Uncle Xavier. You brought so many warriors, now Kenna can finally stop worrying about the beast tide. Dark Iron Dwarf Xavier said seriously, Princess Kenna, don't worry, no monster can destroy your castle. The Dark Iron Dwarfs will swear to defend the Dark Iron Dwarf castle and Princess Kenna to the death. Yeah. Little Lolly nodded quickly. However, Dark Iron Dwarf Xavier suddenly hesitated and said, Princess, we may not have enough food. Little Lolly hurriedly said, Kenna will contact Tang Xiaofan immediately. We have stored more than 5,000 units of refined iron, which can be exchanged with Tang Xiaofan for a lot of food. Praise Princess Kenna. Dark Iron Dwarf Xavier breathed a sigh of relief. The Dark Iron Dwarfs are small in size, but have a large appetite. In particular, Dark Iron Dwarf warriors need plenty of food to ensure that their combat effectiveness is not affected. As for the Tang Xiaofan mentioned by the little Lali, the Black Iron Dwarf Xavier also knew about it. He had heard Princess Kenna talk about Tang Xiaofan many times. He was a legendary castle lord, ranking at the top of hundreds of castle lords. He was looking forward to meeting Tang Xiaofan in the future, and admiring the style of the legendary figure. Tang Xiaofan contacted me. Kenna opened the friend message column, and happened to see the message sent by Tang Xiaofan, asking her about the forging of refined iron and equipment. She quickly replied, Tang Xiaofan, I have prepared 5,000 units of refined iron, and the equipment has also been forged. Great. Kenna is really amazing. But pay attention to the beast tide tonight. Well, I will pay attention, but I need a lot of food to survive this beast tide. No problem, I will send you 10,000 units of food later. Great, thank you so much, Tang Xiaofan. After some communication, Kenna put all the refined iron in the Dark Iron Dwarf castle on the trading channel, and attached a high-level armor suitable for Tang Xiaofan to wear. Tang Xiaofan was designated as the buyer. Then the two parties quickly succeeded in the exchange. A large amount of food appeared out of thin air in the warehouse of the Dark Iron Dwarf castle. 10,000 units of food. Uncle Xavier, take a look. Tang Xiaofan gave Kenna 10,000 units of food. Kenna proudly showed the Dark Iron Dwarf the mountains of food in the warehouse. Praise the legendary castle lord. If you're listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means they downloaded and uploaded it without effort. We cordially invite you to visit our channel, Mundo Fanfic Novelos. There you'll find the original version of this story and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We're waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Chapter 69, Boiling World Chat Channel. The Dark Iron Dwarf Fengwei smiled and nodded. This batch of food is enough to solve the current food crisis of the Dark Iron Dwarf Castle. Moreover, this batch of food is not just simple meat or rice. They are processed foods, and there is even wine. That's right, the food Tang Xiaofan gave out now is no longer raw materials. The food in his warehouse has been replaced with boxed lunches, and there are even sets of wine and drinks. In short, with the kitchen in hand, he has made various ways to let his farmers enjoy delicious food. And when he saw the wine and drinks, the Dark Iron Dwarf Fengwei's eyes lit up immediately. Dark Iron Dwarves love wine the most. With wine, their combat effectiveness can be doubled immediately. Princess Kenna, this is great. We haven't tasted the taste of good wine for a long time. Kenna smiled happily. What are you waiting for? Quickly distributed to everyone. Then, after repelling the beast tide, we will drink happily. Long live Princess Kenna. The Dark Iron Dwarves learned of Ken's arrangement, and they cheered one by one, and they all had a lot more energy to work. There are still 10 minutes until 8 o'clock. Master Tang Xiaofan asked Ken to put the equipment on the trading area on time. HMM. Low-level equipment and mid-level equipment should be separated, and 10 sets will be exchanged for wood and stone. High-level equipment will be auctioned separately and only fine iron will be exchanged. Understood. The little Lalita hurriedly ordered the Dark Iron Dwarfs to move all the equipment out and sort them into sets. Soon, the time came to 8 o'clock. She put all the equipment on the trading channel. There were a total of about 2,300 sets of low-level and mid-level standard equipment, divided into 230 sets. In addition, there were 9 sets of high-level equipment, made from materials from the 16th level Mammoth Leader. High-level equipment was sold in the form of auctions, and only fine iron was exchanged. The auction time was 3 hours, and the highest bidder won. The person who put the equipment on the shelf was Master Tang Xiaofan's little follower. At 8 o'clock in the evening, the World Chat channel was instantly boiling. The World Chat channel was bustling with activity. This was the last time for all the Blue Star players to have a party during the novice protection period. After 12 o'clock tonight, the novice period would end, and the protection shield would disappear. The situation of the Castle Lord would never be as harmonious and peaceful as it is now. So these players were communicating frantically in the chat channel, looking for a little bit of that illusory sense of existence and security. At night, the protective shield must be closed at night. Brothers, how many people can survive tomorrow? Moreover, once the heart of the castle is breached, the country where it is located will suffer 1,000 times the loss. Who can take care of the back now? Let's take care of ourselves first. That's right, I haven't been eating well or sleeping well these days. I miss my mobile phone so much. The one upstairs. I miss my new car, the supercar I just bought. What brand of supercar? Kyatiguan 3. How about it? Isn't it awesome? Brother upstairs, if we can go back one day, I will give you a Mercedes-Benz. Don't embarrass us players. Boss. So generous. What's the big boss of Blue Star? When you come here, you have to be scared. That's right, all the players who were teleported to the continent of gods and demons are facing the biggest crisis. It's not only the beasts and monsters that bring crisis to these castle lords, but also the local forces of the continent of gods and demons. The local forces here have all gone through the test of blood and fire, fighting step by step. None of them are weak and can be bullied. Even the two-headed ogre tribe defeated by Tang Xiaofan can be said to be experienced and brave. The general castle lord is definitely not the opponent of the local forces. Not to mention, there are even other castle lords who are eyeing other castle lords. After all, this is a battle for hegemony in another world. Only the most powerful castle lord is qualified to stand on the top of all races. Otherwise, once you relax, you will become a stepping stone for others and achieve their great achievements. Therefore, the fight between the castle lords will also officially begin with the disappearance of the protective cover. For example, Tang Xiaofan has already set his sights on a castle about 18 kilometers away from the Angel Castle. The owner of that castle once tried to capture his warriors and also induced other castle lords in the forest to kill demons and explode god equipment in the world chat channel. For Tang Xiaofan, this is the enemy castle force. If the castle does not disappear in the beast tide activity, then he will choose to take action himself. Tang Xiaofan is not afraid of exposing the secret of the armor. He only cares about clearing the enemies in front of him, and use this to warn other castle lords not to provoke his armor team. Tang Xiaofan, hurry up and get the equipment. A group of people are waiting anxiously. This is a flash skill. There are a lot of them. We must grab them. Fuck. Here it comes. Here it comes. Oh my gosh. So many equipment. Of course, these are all brand new standard equipment, made by the Black Iron Dwarf blacksmith, which is very excellent among the equipment of the same level. There must be at least several thousand pieces, right? Or lawsuits. A full 2,300 sets. It's worthy of being Tang Xiaofan. A big deal. Hurry up and grab it. First come first served. You will earn money if you buy it. Damn it. Go. You guys move slowly. I click one and a piece disappears. Can you give me a chance? Had I also grabbed one? Great. With these suits, the strength of the Sun Swordsman under my command will surely increase dramatically, and resisting the beast tide will be a piece of cake. I'm crying. The message reminds me that there are insufficient resources. Tang Xiaofan is too shameless and too black-hearted. Those castle lords at the bottom can't afford it at all. Tang Xiaofan doesn't deserve the title of black-hearted businessman for nothing. Get out of here, idiot. Scarcity makes things valuable. Even if the price is 3 times higher, there will still be people scrambling for it. Tang Xiaofan is already generous enough. No matter how the World Chat channel complained about Tang Xiaofan, the trading area next to it was extremely hot. Countless castle lords squeezed into the trading channel and frantically bought the equipment on the shelves. It really proved the saying that buying is making money. It is impossible to lose money. Moreover, this batch of equipment directly affects the upcoming Beast Tide event and is related to their lives. How can they not be crazy? But there are too many castle lords who are rushing to buy equipment. At least hundreds of people are scrambling for it. Some of them are top castle lords, and the humanoid soldiers they have also needed equipment. There are only more than 2,000 sets of equipment and 230 small copies. It is not enough for them to grab. In just a few seconds, all the equipment on the shelves was sold out. Every piece was sold out. The castle lord who grabbed the equipment is definitely an old driver who has been single for decades. He is steady and ruthless. At the same time, they are also extremely lucky. The castle lords who did not grab the equipment can only be full of resentment and blame themselves for being too slow. Some people vented their dissatisfaction in the World Chat channel. Is it over? It's over in a few seconds. There are too few equipments. There are too many people. I expected so much, but in the end, there is only this much. Who are you kidding? Chapter 70. Poor Iron-Made Metal Laboratory. The guy above is Shilezi. How many equipment can he make? Besides Big Brother Tang Xiaofan, who else can sell more than 2,000 sets of equipment at once? And so far, Big Brother Tang Xiaofan has sold nearly 4,000 sets of equipment. Only Big Brother Tang Xiaofan can do this. I found out that the person who made the equipment is not Big Brother Tang Xiaofan. Damn. Do you really think this is a game? There is even a trumpet. This little follower is probably not Big Brother Tang Xiaofan, but someone else. The Black Iron Dwarf has revealed the blueprint for the equipment refining shop, so he can make equipment. The little follower and Big Brother Tang Xiaofan are obviously in a cooperative relationship. Big Brother's long legs. There will be a chance in this life. Many people are adding Tang Xiaofan as a friend, and a lot of people are sending friend requests to the little Lalita in the underground world. Among them, there is the castle lord who has the top level troops. At this stage, it seems that the only castle lord who can make standard equipment is little Lalita. The top castle lords from all sides want to cooperate with her. In this way, the equipment of their troops will be settled. At the same time, there will be a discount on the price, so that you won't be cheated by Tang Xiaofan. All the profits from the sale of equipment this time were earned by Tang Xiaofan. The top castle lords all took Tang Xiaofan as their goal to surpass, so naturally they didn't want to help the enemy. However, all the friend requests they sent were rejected by the little Lali. Xiao Yaoli knew very well who was the most reliable one. Even if they promised her a high price and a large profit to make equipment, she didn't agree. Although Kera is young, don't try to fool Kera. Xiao Yaoli was very determined to keep going on the road of being a little follower, so she directly closed the friend column. She happily began to count the resources in the warehouse. About 2,300 sets of standard equipment were sold in a few seconds, in exchange for a huge amount of supplies. Well, not bad. The wood harvest was 187,500 units. The stone harvest was 124,900 units. What a good harvest. Tang Xiaofan will definitely be very happy. The little Lalita was very happy. 60% of these resources belonged to Tang Xiaofan, and the remaining 40% were hers. After the dividends were distributed, her castle could be upgraded to a high level, and it would not be far from upgrading the castle to a town. Thinking of this, the little Lalita contacted Tang Xiaofan hurriedly. She informed Tang Xiaofan of the proceeds from the sale of the equipment. Soon, she received a reply from Tang Xiaofan. After a few words, the little Lalita immediately designated Tang Xiaofan as the buyer of 60% of the resources, and the exchange price was 1 unit of food. Now there is only the auction of high-level equipment left. The little Lalita looked at the trading area again. The crazy increase in the refined iron value under the high-level equipment made the little Lalita narrow her eyes. Black Technology Castle. Harvested 113,000 units of wood and 69,000 units of stone. Tang Xiaofan took a deep breath. This is really a bumper harvest. He paid only some monster materials, but harvested a huge amount of castle upgrade materials. A huge profit. Sure enough, making equipment for sale is the most profitable. In terms of standard equipment, he and the little Lalita have monopolized the entire industry. Because only with the building of the refining shop can equipment be made. Before the drawings of the refining shop are flooded, he and the little Lalita can continue to make money. Although his own blacksmith shop and weapon workshop are more advanced and efficient than the little Lalita's refining shop, he doesn't want to get involved in the creation of these low-end equipment. He wants to build his own Mark armor core, not only various Mark armor, but also the major upgraded weapons and equipment that will be faced after the arc reactor is solved in the future, such as the Jetly missile, which requires a lot of blacksmith shop resources. Moreover, Tang Xiaofan discussed with Jarvis that after today's beast tide crisis was overcome, and he was asked to assess the dangers of the god and demon continent, he would quickly build a modern military system, including cars, airplanes, satellites, etc. Of course, these systems require a lot of energy to support them. Next, Tang Xiaofan would quickly build the metal laboratory and build the arc reactor. Tang Xiaofan glanced at the trading area. The 900 sets of goblin equipment that were put on the shelves at noon and the 1000 units of food that were put on the shelves in the evening. All of them have been sold out now. Equipment is the most in demand and sells the fastest. Even if Tang Xiaofan did not release the sales information in advance, the 900 sets of equipment were sold out in less than half a minute. The food on the shelves is selling very slowly. The reason is very simple. There are too many castle lords selling food now, while the number of castle lords who need food is rapidly decreasing. Of course, food is a daily necessity, and it will never be out of date at any time. As long as it is posted, someone will buy it. Compared with other castle lords who sell food, Tang Xiaofan's food sells the best due to his popularity. Many castle lords' food has not been sold after being hung for a whole day, but Tang Xiaofan's has been sold out. 900 sets of goblin equipment, 1000 units of food, a total of 93,800 units of wood and 552,600 units of stone were harvested. Add to that the original wood and stone in the castle warehouse, the total current wood is 336,900 units, stone is 173,640 units, 15,800 units of refined iron. Really got rich overnight. Tang Xiaofan smiled. No doubt he was definitely the richest among the hundreds of castle lords. To upgrade the Black Tech Castle to a Black Tech town, only 100,000 units of wood, 50,000 units of stone, and 10,000 units of refined iron are needed. To build a metal laboratory, 50,000 units of wood, 50,000 units of stone, and 50,000 units of refined iron are needed. To count the two buildings together, 45,000 units of refined iron are needed. In terms of wood and stone, the materials I have stored far exceed the upgrade requirements. Now I just have to wait for the refined iron to be in hand. Tang Xiaofan looked at the castle warehouse. Adding the more than 5,000 units of refined iron that the little loli had traded to him before, he currently has 15,800 units of refined iron in reserve. In other words, the Black Tech Castle can be upgraded immediately now. If the number of refined iron reaches 60,000 units, then he can also build it together with the advanced building metal laboratory. With the metal laboratory, his arc reactor can be built. By then, Mark armor will enter the path of rapid upgrade, and the future of nano armor is unknown. This is a very powerful energy source. Not only does it solve the problem of armor, but the defense and production capacity of the Black Technology Castle itself will also usher in a huge explosive development. It is no exaggeration to say that energy is the cornerstone of all civilizations. No matter what stage the main forces of the gods and demons continent have developed to, Facing the core technology of the Marvel world, the arc reactor, it is difficult for them to surpass it. Chapter 71 successfully upgraded to a black tech town. Even if there are magic and magical powers in this world, even if it is a divine weapon, its practical value is not as good as that of a metal laboratory. This is high level equipment. Top level castle lords. Please show mercy. I don't have much refined iron, just give it to me. Dream on. Tang Xiaofan looked at the hotly discussed trading area. In addition to the 9 sets of high-level equipment put on the shelves by the little lolly, he also put on the shelves 5 sets of high-level equipment, which were all the gains from the capture of the goblin tribe. 14 sets of high-level equipment. The refined iron value under each set of equipment is increasing rapidly. Almost every 2 seconds, the value will jump up. This shows that many castle lords are bidding for these high-level equipment. 2 days ago, when Tang Xiaofan announced that he would auction high-level equipment, those top castle lords who coveted high-level equipment were frantically buying refined iron, hoping to bid for high-level equipment and improve their strength. The castle protection shield is about to be lost. The beast tide activity may come at any time. The top castle lords who cherish their lives do not want to die in the beast tide. High-level equipment can greatly guarantee their safety. Although the top castle lords all understand that this is funding the goals they want to surpass and continuing to widen the gap between them and Tang Xiaofan, they can only grit their teeth and bid. After all, high-level equipment is related to their lives and property, and even to life and death. And the number of high-level equipment is so small, only 14 sets. If you don't buy it, others will buy it, and if others grab it, they will have an advantage. By then, let alone surpassing Tang Xiaofan, even the top castle lords of the same level will not be able to do so. How to compete for hegemony? There is an old saying, the first mover controls others, and the latecomer controls others. If you fall behind others in the early stage, the difficulty of catching up later will increase exponentially. The crazier I am, the more I earn. Tang Xiaofan counted the auction fine iron values below the 14 sets of high-level equipment. If nothing unexpected happens before 12 o'clock today, he can not only upgrade the castle to a town, but also build an industrial metal laboratory. Now, let's upgrade the black technology town first. Everything is ready. Tang Xiaofan did not hesitate and opened the castle information prompt. Do you want to upgrade the black technology castle to a town? Yes, no upgrade. Suddenly, a strong golden light enveloped his black technology castle. Under the strong light, it was impossible to see what was happening inside. It could only be seen that the height of the castle was increasing, and the scale was also increasing. At the same time, the earth was shaking, and the novice protection shield was also expanding outward. The wild monsters gathered outside the castle were forced to push back. There were wild monsters roaring in anger and attacking the novice protection shield, hitting their heads and bleeding, but the protection shield was not damaged at all. The novice protection period will end in about 2 hours. Now it is still invincible. Tang Xiaofan also saw that as the protection shield expanded, the trees around the castle, the boulders in the mountains, etc., all disappeared out of thin air. The entire ground became a flat open space. A few minutes later, the mutation ended. A piece of open space with a diameter of about 200 meters appeared around the black technology castle. His castle was in the center of the open space. The surroundings were empty, and no other buildings were generated. The blacksmith shop and other buildings that had been built were pushed out of the open space. Obviously, the buildings in the black technology town need to be built by ourselves. Tang Xiaofan didn't care about this. His current construction workers were already very skilled. Moreover, with so much open space in the town, it was obvious that there would be enough functional buildings to build. In the future, when more architectural drawings are exploded, there will naturally be more buildings in the territory. Tang Xiaofan looked at his castle. At this time, the golden light had dissipated, and the castle revealed a brand new look. It became more magnificent and huge, nearly 10 meters high, about the height of 3 or 4 floors. It should be a 4-story building, and there is a prominent mark on the roof, which is a black sickle. The exterior decoration of the castle is also more exquisite. It is no longer the low-level castle at the beginning, which is shabby and looks like no one has lived in it for more than 10 years. Now his castle is really like a standard office building. Black technology castle, current level, primary town, ordinary building, warehouse, special building, farmer factory, upgrade requirements. 500,000 units of wood, 300,000 units of stone, and 100,000 units of refined iron. Next level, intermediate town, new buildings, temple, primary dormitory, elementary school, theater, tavern, library, hospital, current status, invincible, current faction, none. Looking at the upgrade requirements of the next level, intermediate town, Tang Xiaofan felt a little bit of a toothache. This is just the upgrade to an intermediate town. If it is upgraded to a city, a giant city, a kingdom, or an empire, how many resources will be needed? Just thinking about it makes him feel relieved, because this requirement must be difficult for others, but for himself, when the arc reactor is built, then resource collection and transportation can definitely be mechanized, and then no matter how many resources there are, it will be at will. Moreover, after the expansion of his territory, the equipment he has produced can continue to be dumped to these castle lords, and even local forces, so that they can transfuse blood to him. Then the warriors of Mark armor will have to fight to protect the resources. Tang Xiaofan thought so. At this time, the information prompt arrived as expected. Congratulations to the lord of the castle. Your black tech castle has been upgraded to a primary town, and the sphere of influence has been increased to 20 kilometers. The defense value of the heart of the castle has increased 5-fold. The influence and reputation of your black tech castle in the continent of gods and demons have been greatly improved. Special Reminder 1. Certain forces in the forest have noticed your castle. Special reminder 2. The Goblin Kingdom's hatred value for your castle has increased. The sphere of influence is 20 kilometers. It's almost bordering the sphere of influence of that person's castle. The lord of the castle, who was regarded as a hostile force by Tang Xiaofan, was about 18 kilometers away from him. The spheres of influence of the two people were about to intersect. In this case, even if there was no previous friction, the two castle forces would inevitably go to war. Therefore, the battle of the castle was inevitable. The only thing to blame is that the two people's castles are too close to each other. The defense value of the heart of the castle increases 5-fold. Every time the castle is upgraded, the defense value of the heart of the castle will double. Influence and reputation are also greatly improved. It's the Goblin Kingdom. The hatred value increases. I upgrade my castle. What does it have to do with the Goblin Kingdom? It seems that the Goblin Kingdom is very determined to destroy my castle. Tang Xiaofan turned his head to look at the warriors guarding him and said, the Goblin Kingdom wants to destroy our high-tech castle. Tell me, what should we do? Destroy the Goblin Kingdom. Punish them with the power of the Lord. Let the goblins complete their repentance with blood and life. Destroy their bodies and burn their souls. The warriors shouted. Chapter 72. Feeling of losing 100 million. Even the most philanthropic chef showed his disgust for the Goblin Kingdom. They all knew one truth. That is, Lord, love the world. The world should also respect and believe in the Lord. Violating the Lord's divine will and blaspheming the Lord's majesty is an act of disloyalty and must be redeemed with death and blood. Disloyal people need to be punished and purified. Only by purifying disloyal people can they be redeemed. Very good. Tang Xiaofan nodded with satisfaction. The hatred value of the Goblin Kingdom towards him continued to increase. How could he not want to destroy the Goblin Kingdom? To rule the forest, war is the only shortcut. The future forest can only belong to him alone, his farmers and affiliated forces. Wait. There is no reward for upgrading the castle to a town. I'm the first castle lord to be upgraded to a town. Tang Xiaofan suddenly reacted and asked the system. Then, he received a response from the information prompt of the castle system. There is no special reward for upgrading the castle, only world announcements. World announcements are used to motivate other castle lords to work hard to develop their own castles. What logic? Tang Xiaofan immediately retorted, how can other castle lords be motivated without rewards? You have to understand, because there is no reward for upgrading the castle, so many top castle lords are dragging their feet and not upgrading their castles, accumulating resources for consumption. In this case, how can the castle develop? How can the world develop? Castle lords who get excellent scores in the Beast Tide event can get rewards. In short, no matter what, there is no reward for upgrading the castle to a town. Even if you are the first person to upgrade, there is no reward. Tang Xiaofan was very unhappy. Feeling that he had lost 100 million, he opened the world chat channel, which was already in chaos, just because the world announced the news that Tang Xiaofan successfully upgraded to a town. Congratulations to Castle Lord Tang Xiaofan, the first to upgrade the castle to a town. The influence and reputation value in the God and Demon continent has been greatly improved. Look forward to other castle lords not forgetting their original intentions and making persistent efforts. Work together to upgrade the castle, become gods, and live forever. World announcement. Fuck. Tang Xiaofan is a fierce group. You are my idol. This is the first world announcement since I joined the continent of gods and demons. Damn, I've only been here for 7 days. It feels like 70 years have passed. Boss Tang Xiaofan upgraded the town so quickly, while mine is still a mid-level castle. What a difference. Boss, take your time, wait for me. Although mine is a high-level castle, it is still a long way from upgrading to a town, and that requires 100,000 resources to upgrade. Boss Tang Xiaofan made a fortune from the equipment auction today. Okay, what's so strange about upgrading a town? Don't talk nonsense upstairs. Don't delay my admiration for Boss Tang Xiaofan. You losers can only look up to you like me. World announcement. When can I have one? Then I'll die with peace of mind. Maybe you are the first one to have the heart of the castle knocked down by monsters, and there will be an announcement too. You can go with peace of mind. You are a pig upstairs. Stop arguing. Boss Tang Xiaofan, tell me, what rewards did you get for being the first one to upgrade from a castle to a town? In general online game novels, world announcements are accompanied by physical rewards. Maybe it's a magic weapon. Anyway, the rewards must be very generous. After all, even a world announcement has been made. That's right. Do you think it could be a magic weapon that increases the combat effectiveness of a type of soldier? I think it's a magic weapon that increases the number of soldiers produced. My behemoth can only produce one a day. Damn it, the people above, and the others who are versatiles, go to hell. The world chat channel is very lively. Many castle lords are guessing what kind of reward Tang Xiaofan has obtained. There are all kinds of speculations, such as artifacts, blueprints, arms, etc. Even some castle lords with top arms have stood up and spoke. While congratulating Tang Xiaofan, they tricked him into telling them the reward. Only Tang Xiaofan himself didn't care. Whether there was a reward or not, it didn't matter to him. With the artifact, his Mark armor core still beat others. Without the reward, without the artifact, his Mark armor core still beat others. But it was really except for a world announcement, there was no reward at all, and it even increased the hatred value of the Goblin Kingdom. It really felt like a blood loss. But even if Tang Xiaofan knew this would be the result, he would still upgrade the castle. This is the main line of the task, and it must be completed without a reward. This world announcement storm came suddenly, and went very suddenly. Next, all castle lords must go all out to deal with the Beast Tide activity. The only reward for ranking first is his goal. As time goes by, gradually, castle lords with insufficient financial resources withdrew from the competition for high-level equipment auctions. The frequency of the increase in the value of refined iron was decreasing, but it still did not stop. As Tang Xiaofan expected, those top castle lords were really crazy to get high-level equipment. At this stage, refined iron is still very precious. It takes a very high price to buy it. However, in order to compete for high-level equipment, the top castle lords did not hesitate to consume a lot of materials, such as wood, stone, and food. This also directly affected the upgrade speed of their castles. It was even more distant to catch up with Tang Xiaofan. But they had no choice. The high-level equipment was too attractive, and they could only grit their teeth and fight hard. As long as I bid for high-level equipment, my safety will be guaranteed. My top-level soldiers are extremely powerful, and can definitely resist the Beast Tide. But I'm too weak, only level 8. If I die in the Beast Tide event, it will be a big loss. I need high-level equipment. To protect myself with high level equipment, I can get a higher score in the Beast Tide event. The high level equipment is mine, and the only reward is also mine. There is no reward for upgrading the castle. You can postpone it, but you must have high level equipment. No one is allowed to snatch high level equipment from me. This is the voice of many top castle owners, and it is also the direct reason for their crazy bidding. So far, the bid for each of the 14 sets of high level equipment has exceeded 5,000 units of refined iron. Among them, 2 sets of high level equipment from the treasure house of the Goblin Chieftain have been bid up to 9,500 units of refined iron. At this time, Tang Xiaofan has calmed down his originally anxious mood. The auction is a success. Even if it stops now, he has gathered enough refined iron to build a metal laboratory. Tang Xiaofan was in a good mood. He turned to look at the chat channel in the human world. Compared with the previous few days, the chat channel was even more lively tonight. Because after 12 o'clock tonight, the castle's protective shield will disappear. Which of the hundreds of castle lords would still be in the mood to sleep? Even Tang Xiaofan couldn't sleep. Chapter 73 Generous Little Lolly. Tang Xiaofan couldn't sleep, mainly because he wanted to see what the Beast Tide would look like after the protective shield disappeared. As for the violent monsters lingering around the castle, he was going to let the well-rested soldiers clean them up later, to prevent these beasts from coming in with the Beast Tide. However, Tang Xiaofan was still quite confident that he could hold on to the 2 city walls and the perfect defense system. Even if the fire dragon came, he didn't think it would be a big problem. After all, he had arranged 500 sniper guns on the city wall, just waiting for the other party to show up. However, the people in the world chat channel were not as calm as him. The bosses are too crazy. Fine iron is a necessary material for upgrading the town, and the price of fine iron is ridiculously high now. The bosses are bidding desperately without blinking an eye. The Beast Tide is about to hit. How can upgrading the castle be more important than high level equipment? As soon as the auction ends, the price of fine iron will fall immediately. As the strength of the castle lord becomes stronger and stronger, fine iron will become more and more popular, and finally become a common material like wood. At that time, town-level castles will spring up like mushrooms after rain, and they will appear in large numbers. Look forward to it. Boss Tang Xiaofan, no matter what you say, I will make a lot of money tonight. I envy Tang Xiaofan for being so awesome. By the way, why doesn't Tang Xiaofan add me as a friend? I have applied many times, but all were rejected. Do you look down on me? Come out and give an explanation. Who do you think you are? Who do you think you are? What a thing. Take a piss and look at yourself. Who do you think you are? Are you the only one who added boss Tang Xiaofan? Tang Xiaofan simply turned off the world chat channel. It's normal for him not to add friends. Since teleporting to the god and demon continent, these few days, the number of castle lords who add him as a friend every day ranges from dozens to hundreds. If he adds all of them as friends, the daily information bombardment alone will make his head explode. Not to mention ordinary castle lords, even those top castles, such as Bear Grylls who has the top level troop, the ancient giant bear, have been rejected by him many times. So far, he has only one friend, Little Lolly. When I have time, I chat with the little Lalita in the underground world. It's very relaxing. It's troublesome to have too many friends. Tang Xiaofan is a person who doesn't like trouble. He likes to solve problems in a simple and rough way. Soon, the 3-hour auction time finally ended. All 14 sets of high-level equipment have been owned. Ancient Giant Bear Castle, Bear Grylls, who is strong and tough in simple leather armor. Standing in the sunshine on the top floor of the castle, looking at the wild monsters gathered outside, he breathed a sigh of relief. The competition for high-level equipment is very fierce. But I finally got a set. It's not easy. He took out the high-level equipment from the auction and put it on directly. He suddenly felt a strong sense of security in his heart. The protection brought by high-level equipment is of great significance, whether it is to clear the violent monsters outside the city or to deal with the beast tide that may come at any time. The only shortcoming is that it is expensive. It's so expensive that I feel a little distressed. After all, high-level equipment is not magic equipment, and it is destined to become something that is common in the street. But now he has consumed a lot of precious refined iron to get high-level equipment. It made him feel uncomfortable. If the refined iron was gone, he had to exchange it. In order to exchange for refined iron, he had no more wood and stone in stock. This directly affected the upgrade of the ancient giant bear castle. It was impossible to upgrade the castle to a town in a short period of time. In terms of the development of the castle's power, everyone who participated in this auction was simply losing money. The only one who benefited was Tang Xiaofan. He is the biggest winner. Benny Yi was very envious. Tang Xiaofan had upgraded the castle to a town, and once again widened the gap with many castle lords, and this gap was not just a little bit. There is nothing we can do about it. As the first person to eat crabs, Tang Xiaofan is always the biggest beneficiary. But this does not mean that Tang Xiaofan can always eat crabs. The upcoming Beast Tide event is my chance. Looking at the brand new high level equipment on his body, Benny Yi gradually gained the confidence to catch up with Tang Xiaofan. Other top castle lords who have won high level equipment are also like Bear Grylls. Now that their own safety is guaranteed, they can go all out to attack the Beast Tide event. All the top castle lords want to get the only reward to suppress Tang Xiaofan. The goal of the future is to dominate all races. At this stage, surpassing Tang Xiaofan, who is known as the strongest castle lord, is the most important thing. The underground world, the Black Iron Dwarf Castle, the little Lalita counted the refined iron she had harvested. 9 sets of high level equipment have won a total of 103,800 units of refined iron, which is a lot. So much refined iron. If all my castles are used to dig, it will take at least a week. Selling equipment at this stage is a huge profit. She can get 40% of the 103,800 units of refined iron, which is 41,520 units of refined iron. At this time, Kenna suddenly hesitated. It's enough for Kenna's castle to be upgraded to a high level for now. No need to prepare to upgrade it to a town. Wait until the Beast Tide event is over. Tang Xiaofan has been preparing to upgrade the town, and he really needs this batch of refined iron. After thinking for a while, the little Lalita decided to transfer all the refined iron obtained from the auction to Tang Xiaofan. She was not in a hurry to stockpile refined iron. What's more, her castle itself has the ability to forge refined iron. If she wants refined iron, she can forge it later. At this stage, she thinks Tang Xiaofan needs refined iron more than her. Thinking of this, the little Lalita decisively put all the refined iron on the trading channel and designated the exchanger to exchange it for Tang Xiaofan at the same price of 1 unit of food. Tang Xiaofan will definitely be very happy. He at this time, the dark iron dwarf Xavier standing beside her said, staring at the outside of the castle. Princess Kera, the monsters gathered outside the castle are getting more and more manic. There are also a large number of monsters gathered outside the Dark Iron Dwarf Castle. Human-faced spiders, skeleton warriors, bloodthirsty black wolves, darkness, demon rats, etc. All of them are dark creatures from the underground world. Little Lali was also a little uneasy. The castle's protective shield was about to disappear. Uncle Xavier, will those monsters attack us? Don't worry, Princess Kera. The Dark Iron Dwarf Xavier took off the giant sword on his back and carried it on his shoulders. He said seriously, unless all the warriors of our Dark Iron Dwarf clan die in battle, no monster can invade your castle before that. We swear to defend the castle and Princess Kera to the death. The Dark Iron Dwarf warriors in the castle also raised their weapons in their hands with great momentum. In addition to them, the Dark Iron Dwarf Castle also has defensive fence buildings that can resist attacks from wild monsters to a certain extent. Thinking of this, little Lali's uneasiness gradually dissipated. She nodded happily. Chapter 74 The moment of life and death is approaching. Black Technology Castle. You lost a set of high-risk equipment and gained 5,350 units of refined iron. You lost a set of high-risk equipment and gained 6,400 units of refined iron. You lost a set of high-risk equipment and gained 4,760 units of refined iron. You lost a set of high-risk equipment and gained 5,480 units of refined iron. You lost a set of high-risk equipment and gained 7,510 units of refined iron. The moment the auction ended, 5 information prompts came. The refined iron reserves in Tang Xiaofan's castle warehouse soared directly to more than 30,000. The 5 sets of high level equipment I auctioned myself gained a total of more than 30,000 units of refined iron. The 9 sets of high level equipment auctioned by Keda gained a total of 103,800 units of refined iron. Blood profit. Tang Xiaofan smiled. With this calculation, the refined iron reserves in the castle warehouse have reached more than 92,000 units. The town has been upgraded, and the remaining resources at this moment have met the upgrade requirements of the metal laboratory. A real big harvest. He is now waiting for Zhao to send him 60% of his refined iron. At this time, he received a message from little Lalita. After opening the friend's message, Tang Xiaofan narrowed his eyes. He didn't expect that little Lalita would forward all the refined iron obtained from the auction to him, and didn't take 40% of it. This surprised him a little. Aren't you going to upgrade the town? One of the conditions for upgrading a castle to a town is that 10,000 units of refined iron are required. Now little Lalita has transferred all the refined iron to him, and she has no refined iron in her hands. Although the Black Iron Dwarf Castle can forge refined iron, it will still take some time to accumulate 10,000 units. After hesitating for a while, Tang Xiaofan did not refuse. Refined iron is an important material, and he really needs it, and the more the better. Counted as part of the transaction. Tang Xiaofan was still quite moved. Send the food tomorrow. He and little Lalita had already had a transaction agreement, and little Lalita used refined iron to exchange for the food in his hand. Although little Lalita said in the message that this batch of refined iron was a gift to Tang Xiaofan, but he felt that he couldn't take it for free, not to mention that food was easy for him to get. After chatting with the little Lalita for a while, Tang Xiaofan was all smiles. After wishing each other well and spending the night safely, he closed the friend information. Then he exchanged the refined iron traded to him. I currently have a reserve of 1.382 billion refined iron units, nearly 237,000 units of wood, nearly 124,000 units of stone. If it were normal, the castle lords would discuss it for a long time, but the situation is different now. There is still half an hour to 12 o'clock. That is to say, in another half an hour, the invincible shield that protects the castle lords in the novice period will leave everyone. The castle lord will also officially integrate into this cruel alien world. There is no invincible shield to serve as a backing for the castle king. If you want to survive, you can only fight hard. The protective shield will disappear soon. I'm very uneasy. Although my arms are advanced arms, I'm also not ready to contact this world. Tonight, many castle lords may disappear forever. Don't talk nonsense. Please don't say this. There are monsters everywhere outside my house. There are also many colorful pythons around my castle. My legs are shaking when I think they might rush in later. Monsters have surrounded my castle. Don't say any more. The man upstairs. I'm scared to death. I'm scared to death. Countless castle lords spoke in the world chat channel, and the atmosphere instantly became melancholy and bleak. From the chat information, it can be seen that the situation of many castle lords is not optimistic. There are a large number of wild monsters gathered at the door of their castle. Some low-level wild monsters are fine. Even in a violent state, the strength of the former castle lord can mostly deal with it. But if a high-level monster in a violent state appears, such as a level 14 or 16 commander level monster, even an 18th level lord level monster, it would be a disaster for the king of the castle. Tang Xiaofan has reason to believe that many people will not see the sun tomorrow after tonight. When the beast tide activity comes, there will be more castle lords who will be eliminated. It shows the cruel living environment of the god and demon continent. It's always difficult in the early stage. But as long as they survive the early crisis, the castle lords will quickly become stronger and will expand to actively attack the 10 forces of the god and demon continent and embark on the road of hegemony among all races. Tang Xiaofan feels that this is human nature, including himself. Few people are content to be ordinary. When you hold great power, ambition, and desire will naturally follow. This is inevitable. As time goes by, there are gradually whales in the world chat channel. Negative energy is constantly transmitted. Some castle lords have even said goodbye to everyone in the chat channel in despair. Some castle lords collapsed and claimed that they would fight out of the castle and perish together with the wild monsters in a violent state. There are also castle lords waiting for death and expecting to return to the earth after death. But obviously, this possibility is extremely low. Tang Xiaofan sighed slightly. Then he turned off the world chat channel. Someone was comforting the castle lords who had lost hope, but it was a pity that it was useless. Because even if you get through tonight by chance, there will still be tomorrow night and the night after tomorrow. Anyway, wild monsters will be violent at night and gather to attack the castle. In addition, the beast tide activity will come at any time, and it can increase the combat effectiveness of the warriors, and the attack and defense will all increase by 10%. This is very important. Tang Xiaofan's mind moved. A blue drawing appeared in his hand. It was the Advanced Building Drawing Metal Laboratory. Today's Gods and Demons continent finally. Everyone's expression froze, and the atmosphere was heavy. Even a thick-skinned person like Zhang Xiaoxio was embarrassed to say anything casually. Dear audience, there are still 10 minutes. Our contestant Tang Xiaofan's castle shield is about to disappear, and the beast tide is about to come. We have seen, just now, that many monsters have appeared in the forest. At this moment, Tang Xiaofan's armor team is clearing the monsters outside the shield. What do you think, Bureau Chief? Yuki talked a lot, because she was nervous and worried. The Bureau Chief was also very serious today. He thought for a few seconds and said, I'm not worried about these monsters. You see, they can't resist the shooting of machine guns at all. In the picture, the soldiers are shooting at the monsters outside the shield. 1,000 soldiers are enough to cover the entire defense surface. So far, Tang Xiaofan has summoned nearly 300 farmers and professionals. At this moment, they are all wearing Mark armor and ready to fight on the city wall. After all, this is a test of life and death, and all forces are mobilized. Chapter 75. The metal laboratory was successfully built. Master Jing was also very nervous. He took a big sip of water and pointed at Tang Xiaofan's newly equipped Mark II armors, saying, this batch of armors is very mature. Look at their soldiers. They don't feel uncomfortable at all. And everyone is concentrating and calm, without any noise. Elite division. This is the word that came to everyone's mind. It seems that Tang Xiaofan has secured this wave, but it's a pity that he didn't counterattack. He is too conservative. We still need to send out a replacement as soon as possible. Nima. The audience watching the live broadcast wanted to smash the TV and pull Zhang Xiaoxio out to beat him up. At this time, he still wants to highlight his presence. This guy can't speak human language unless he stands out. To build a metal laboratory on a high-level building, 50,000 units of wood, 50,000 units of stone, and 50,000 units of refined iron are required. For other castle lords, this is a huge amount of resources, especially the refined iron in their hands, which is very scarce. But for Tang Xiaofan, this amount of resources is nothing. He upgraded the town and consumed a lot, but the remaining refined iron still has nearly 123,000 units. As for wood and stone, one is more than 200,000 units and the other is more than 100,000 units. It is easy to build a metal laboratory. Tang Xiaofan came to a vacant lot next to the castle and took out the architectural drawings. Do you want to build a metal laboratory at the current designated location? Yes, no, build. Tang Xiaofan naturally chose yes. Suddenly, the drawings in his hand disappeared. A rich golden light enveloped the vacant lot he designated. It can be seen faintly that there is a building similar to a small red brick building in Jingguangdian. It is gradually turning from a phantom into a real entity. After a few minutes, the bright golden light disappeared, and an extremely ordinary two-story red brick building appeared in front of him. The red brick building is dark red in color and emits a soft holy light. Inside the first floor, there are rows of metal analysis instruments. A high and cold scientific atmosphere came to his face. This is the Temple of Black Technology. It represents the favor of black technology to the god and demon continent. This is the starting point of our great cause. Praise the Lord. All the farmers and soldiers, wearing Mark's second armor, bowed their heads and praised Tang Xiaofan. Unifying the world is the meaning of the existence of farmers, and the metal laboratory is the foundation for achieving this goal. Of course, in the eyes of the farmers, they don't understand the value of the metal laboratory, but they blindly trust Tang Xiaofan. Tang Xiaofan's eyes are also fixed on the splendid red brick building in front of him. Advanced building, metal laboratory, effect 1. A metal can be randomly mutated into a metal of the same quality that can be described. Effect 2. A metal can be transformed into a metal known in the laboratory. Effect 3. A known metal can be converted into a production formula so that the blacksmith shop can refine it. Effect 4. The distribution of metal deposits within the castle's sphere of influence can be detected. Effect 5. Increase the hatred of all local forces. Tang Xiaofan's expression showed surprise. When he appraised the blueprint of the metal laboratory, it only had the first 3 effects. However, now that the metal laboratory was built, it had 2 more special hidden effects. This surprised him a little. He didn't expect that there would be an unexpected gain. It's obviously great to explore the distribution of metal deposits within the castle's sphere of influence. Now the sphere of influence of the town is not large. If it becomes large, mining will be convenient. As for the hatred of the local forces, there is no need to pay attention to it. Tang Xiaofan didn't care about this. The farmers under his command were mortal enemies of the local forces. They belonged to the natural hostile camp. And the soldiers, like farmers, don't need the local creatures to do anything. They have only one way to be eliminated, unless they are willing to surrender. Therefore, even if the hatred value is too high, Tang Xiaofan will not be affected. At most, they will fight to the death when they meet. Tang Xiaofan turned his head and looked at the farmers gathered behind him. He could faintly see that there was a circle of light golden halo attached to each farmer's armor. It was the buff halo from the metal laboratory. It seems that the metal laboratory has another function, which can increase the attack and defense of metal equipment by 10%. In this way, his own weapons and armor will increase the combat effectiveness of the farmer team as a whole. However, the combat effectiveness of the Mark armor itself is already extremely terrifying. If it is strengthened again, Tang Xiaofan looked at the beasts under the city wall who didn't even have time to wail, and felt that they were a bit pitiful. At the same time, Tang Xiaofan also found that the hidden amplification effect of the metal laboratory is aimed at all metal weapons. The buff aura of the metal laboratory amplifies not only the Mark armor, but all metal weapons. As long as it is the metal weapon of his castle, it can be amplified. As Tang Xiaofan said, the existence of the metal laboratory can directly affect the overall combat capability of the Black Technology Castle Legion. The metal laboratory can be called a god-level building of the late Legion. It is no exaggeration to say that its value is comparable to a real artifact. Tang Xiaofan's eyes were cast on the warehouse building next to the castle. An information frame, compared to what is in front of him now, 260,000 units of wood, 112,000 units of stone, 73,600 units of refined iron, some monster materials. Special reminder, if the heart of the castle is destroyed, the warehouse's dimensional space will collapse, and all the reserve materials will fall, and become the spoils of the hostile forces. Please protect your heart of the castle. There is still a long way to go before upgrading to a mid-level town. Tang Xiaofan, who had just upgraded to a primary town, was already thinking about the historical town. Although there was no reward for upgrading the castle, he was still eager. He was eager to upgrade the castle to a city, a giant city, or even a royal capital. Establish his own Black Technology dynasty. Once the Black Technology dynasty was established, he would have truly established a foothold in the god and demon continent. Unlike now, he could only struggle in a corner of the forest. In the future, when the lords of the castles have established their own kingdoms, it will be a real era of hegemony among all races. As for now, it's just a small fight. Tang Xiaofan shook his head. The speed of development of his castle power is actually very fast. It has surpassed hundreds of castle lords. But he is still not satisfied. He wants to stand higher and see farther. Lord Zanya, who called the Lord. It seems that the time is almost up. Tang Xiaofan looked at him. A smile appeared on his face, and his mood became much calmer. As a warrior, an iron-blooded and invincible warrior, he can bring a temperament that soothes the soul. Tang Xiaofan looked up. At this moment, the protective cover above the castle suddenly vibrated. End of this chapter. Thank you very much for reaching the end. Don't forget to like. Looking for more exclusive content and immediate access? Subscribe to our Patreon. Remember, every like, subscription, or donation encourages us to continue. Thanks to everyone. See you in the next video.